بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم. صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير عبد العزيز بن سعود بن فهد بن عبد العزيز، سعادة الأمين العام لمؤسسة الأميرة العنود الخيرية الدكتور يوسف بن عثمان الحزيم، أصحاب السعادة، أيها الحفل الكريم، أهلا وسهلا بكم في مؤسسة الأميرة العنود الخيرية، حيث نجتمع اليوم لنحتفي بتدشين برنامج الدبلوم التنفيذي في القيادة للمنظمات الغير ربحية، فأهلا ومرحبا بكم. لسعادة الأمين العام الدكتور يوسف بن عثمان الحزيم كلمة بهذه المناسبة، فليتفضل مشكورا.
الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صاحب السمو الملكي الأمير عبد العزيز بن سعود بن فهد بن عبد العزيز، حياك الله. السادة الحضور، أصحاب السعادة، المتدربين الكرام، اليوم مفاجأة كانت حلوة حقيقة بقدوم طويل العمر وسمو الأمير سيد الأمير سعود بن فهد، وكان حريصا أن يحضر لإدراك أهمية هذا الدبلوم، ولكن الحمد لله ربنا عوضنا بحضورك الجميل والرائع. وتذكرت معك أنا أثناء استقبالك أيضا تشريفك في الملتقى الخليجي للتطوع كان في البحرين. وكذلك I would like to welcome Mr. Andrew and Mr. Parker. I would like to thank you to come in Saudi Arabia, join us in this successful journey I hope. وكذلك يعني الدبلوم جاء له قصة. القصة كانت كما تعلمون المؤسسة أطلقت الزمالة الأوروبية لإدارة المنظمات غير الربحية، وكانت هذه الزمالة أثرت تأثيرا بالغا وأثرت في المؤثرين في المملكة العربية السعودية، وأعادت بناء العقل السعودي الخيري. وكان سبب نجاح الزمالة عدة أمور. الأمر الأول حقيقة أنا لا أتكلم عن حلم، أنا أتكلم عن واقع مؤثر. تخرج أكثر من 80 قائدا حازوا على الزمالة، والدكتور سالم حياك الله القحطاني موجود وهو أحد الخريجين، الأستاذ موسى أحد الناس المتخرجين والمؤثرين، همام الجريد أيضا حصل على الزمالة، ومين كمان محمد الحسن أيضا حصل على الزمالة، فأستاذ عطية الغامدي حصل على الزمالة أيضا موجود أمامي هنا. فإذا العديد حقيقة من القادة المؤثرين استطعنا أن نؤثر من خلال التأثير في المؤثرين وإعادة بناء العقل الخيري السعودي. وسبب النجاح، أعود أقول لكم أن سبب النجاح أننا حقيقة الشراكة التي بنيناها مع المؤسسة الأوروبية العربية في غرناطة ومع جامعة غرناطة تحديدا. هذه الشراكة وهذه المزاوجة حقيقة ومزاوجة ندية بشراكة، لم نكن نحن طرفا ضعيفا بل طرفا مؤثرا، واستطعنا أن ننقل التجربة السعودية لأسبانيا. هذه المزاوجة كانت مزاوجة ندية وأثمرت عن تزاوج حقيقي مهني وعلمي متقدم جدا. هذا السبب الأول. السبب الثاني حقيقة لنجاح الزمالة التي تخرج منها أكثر من كما حدثتكم 80 قائد، ونحن السنة هذه إن شاء الله سوف نخرج أكثر من 40 قائد، اللي هي مشاركة الخبرات السعودية. الخبرات السعودية دائما كانت حاضرة ووظفناها في إطار الزمالة، سواء من خلال المدربين. فإذا البرنامج كان فيه مدربين أسبان وكذلك مدربين سعوديين، والسعوديين حقيقة استطاعوا أن ينقلوا ويطعموا البرنامج بالممارسة التطبيقية، ما كان إطار نظري. فكان هذا أيضا سر من أسرار نجاح الدبلوم. نجاح أيضا الدبلوم أن العنود أيضا تحملت أكثر من 60% من كلفة البرنامج. والناس ساهموا ب40% من كلفة الدبلوم. الناس لما تساهم تتحمل مسؤولية أكثر، وهذا وجدنا الانضباط، الحضور أكثر، التفاعل أكثر، الخوف بدأ يزداد، لأن الناس بدأت تدفع علما ثمن الغياب وثمن، بينما الدبلوم لما كان مجانا كان ضعيف. لما دفعت الناس بدأت تشارك النجاح الآخر الذي حقيقة الاحتياج التدريبي كان نابعا من البيئة، ما كان إطار نظري. البرنامج صمم بناء على احتياج تدريبي نبع من الممارسة الميدانية، يعني من أسفل إلى أعلى وليس من أعلى إلى أسفل. ولذلك جاء التدريب وجاءت الزمالة كحل، ما جاءت معرفة، جاءت حل لمشكلات يواجهها العمل الخيري السعودي. حقيقة أيضا نجاح أيضا الدبلوم كان سببه أن البرنامج جزء منه التطبيق أو التخرج النهائي كان في إسبانيا. بالتالي التعرف وكسر الحاجز الثقافي. أنت تعلمون في فوبيا مشتركة بيننا وبين الغرب أحيانا، فوبيا. هذا الخوف كسر، هذه الفوبيا لما عمل الناس لمصلحة عامة كبرى وزاروا أسبانيا وجلسوا ووجدوا أن الخير هو خير أينما كان. ونحن نتقاسم، وكما ورد في الحديث الناس عيال الله، هؤلاء العيال لهم فطرة الخير والبذل، الفطرة السليمة، وأن الطارئ هي الحرب، الطارئ هو الكراهية، الطارئ هو العداء، الطارئ هو الألم، بينما الأصل لا، هو الأصل العطاء. اليوم أردنا بناء قدرات المنظمات غير الربحية في الدبلوم. اليوم مع بريثي حقيقة نحن ذهبنا لبناء القادة. إن الله يزع بالسلطان ما لا يزع بالقرآن. يعني مهما عملت من طورت منظمات سيبقى القادة قادرين على توجيه البوصلة، لأن كأنما هناك سفينة ولها قبطان، وهذا القبطان يجيبها شرق ويجيبها يمين. مهما كانت هذه السفينة من قوة، ومهما كانت هذه السفينة من تحمل أبرع البحارة، ومهما كانت هذه السفينة تتمتع بتقنيات عالية، في الأخير القادة هم أولئك الذين يوجهون هذه السفينة، يوجهون البوصلة. أخطر ما في القادة أن لديهم البوصلة، المشن المهمة التي سوف تذهب لها هذه السفينة. وأمام القادة خيارين: الخيار الأول التعسف وقيادة الناس بالقوة، أو الخيار الثاني اللي هو الشراكة وإقناع والتأثير في الناس. ولذلك سوف تلاحظون أن القيادة لها تعريف. قالوا القيادة أكثر مصطلح مر علي واللف 3 كتب في القيادة كان لفظ التأثير. إن لم تؤثر فأنت قائد فاشل، إن لم تؤثر. طيب، اليوم نحن مع بريثي مكان جميل، أمير على البحيرة، إطلالته في غاية الروعة. والجمال في بريثي إنه مكان الخضار. الإنسان لما تنزع ويتدرب في بيئة جيدة. وتتذكرون موسى لما كنا في غرناطة، وجودنا في غرناطة الخروج من ذاكرة المكان له ذاكرة أحيانا. فلما تخرج خارج المكان، خارج الذاكرة، يمكن تكتشف أنك إنسان آخر، لأن كثير من الناس محبوسين في الجغرافيا، محبوسين في التجربة. فإذا في بريثي مكان جميل ورائع، عندهم سكن جميل، عندهم ألعاب، عندهم حقيقة ما يتمتع فيه مؤسسة بريثي اللي هو الألعاب، التعلم بالترفيه. فإذا نحن نريد أن نكرر ذات التجربة وذات النجاح مع بريثي. بذلنا مجهودا كبيرا. شكرا بهذا السيد نادر بشيني من إيمز، وشكرا أيضا للسيد معتز. لقد بذلوا جهدا حتى نصل لهذا الشريك، لأن كيف تصل لمعادلة الجودة والسعر؟ أنا أتمنى أن الحمد لله أتكلم بالعربي، لا يعرف في ترجمة. أوكي. فترجمة الجودة والسعر معادلة صعبة، لأن كنا مع BCG ورحنا مع CCCL، صح ولا لا؟ Creative Leadership في أمريكا، وجدنا الكلفة مرتفعة جدا. فكيف تضبط السعر والكلفة؟ هذا هنا الجودة والكلفة. فحنا الآن الجودة والكلفة أعتقد أنها والشراكة، يعني وجدنا في بريثي، لأن بريثي الجميل أنها منظمة غير ربحية، فقلنا منظمة غير ربحية مع منظمة غير ربحية أعتقد نهدف إلى أهداف إنسانية وأهداف بر. أعتقد شراكة ناجحة وهم محترفين متخصصين. فإذا هذا الدبلوم سوف يكون بإذن الله 5 مراحل فيها تقنيات عالية حقيقة في الإعداد، سواء في الأسسمنت في التدريب والتدريب الراسي والتدريب الميداني، الواجبات، القراءة. سيكون يعني تجربتنا في الزمالة طورناها وأضفنا عليها في موضوع الدبلوم. كل أخطائنا اللي اكتشفتها أنت موسى وأعطيتنا إياها في دفتر قد كذا، هي ستجدها إن شاء الله أنها ما تتكرر في الدبلوم. الشكر حقيقة لعبد العزيز، شكرا عبد العزيز الكريديس اللي بذل مجهود ممتاز. وين أبو صالح؟ شكرا لك عبد العزيز، الأمين عام مساعد للتمكين. شكرا، والفريق العمل اللي اشتغل معك، شكرا علي القرني، سعود، شكرا لكم. شكرا أيضا الإخوان في العلاقات العامة، تركي، المرشد والشباب. أشكر الحضور، وإن شاء الله نتمنى بإذن الله يكون عندنا ندوة رائعة وتضيف لنا جميعا في مفهوم القيادة، وسوف تستمر إلى الثالثة يمكن 10 دقائق، ثم بعد ذلك الساعة 4 سوف ندخل في الدبلوم. بعد يعني يكتفي على المتدربين. عبد الله الخريب، شكرا على حضورك عبد الله، شكرا لك. أنت خذيت الزمن يا عبد الله؟ أجل الدفعة الجاية أرجوك. شكرا لكم، شكرا لكم.
شكرا سعادة الأمين العام. أما الآن نترككم مع سعادة البروفيسور أندرو من مؤسسة بريثي التعليمية لإلقاء ورقة عمل عن القيادة، فليتفضل مشكورا. Please, Mr. Andrew.
Hello everybody, and thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you this afternoon, and particularly thanks to Dr. Youssef for inviting us over to your fantastic country and to start a partnership working with the Foundation. My name is Andy Gill, I'm the head of consulting with Brave. From what I can understand, I don't understand very much of what Dr. Youssef said. I think he introduced the broad idea of who we are. So we also are a foundation based in the UK. We started in 1946. I've been working with Brave for 32 years. My colleague here over here has been working with us for 28 years, I think, something like that. So you're really big here. I've been invited this afternoon to talk to you about leadership. And that's a little bit like being asked to talk about the world. Come and talk about the world. What a vast subject. So I've tried to narrow down to something that I think will be interesting and topical and may not be that familiar to a number of you. You may be familiar with these ideas. So I've got some slides to introduce my session. Let me work the technology. So what I'm hoping to look at is the difference leadership can make in terms of providing the conditions where people feel as though they can give of their best. The difference, if you like, between people complying or really engaging and being participants, enterprising participants in whatever enterprise or purpose they set out to do. there are thousands of definitions or statements around leadership. One that I particularly enjoy is this quote. The important thing I think in here is decoupling from the personality of the leader. That leadership is something that gives over rather than stays tightly coupled. So I'm going to talk about the aspects of leadership that aren't around getting the immediate job done, so aren't around particularly giving a vision and driving people towards it in some way, but are around getting the best out of people over time and taking people with you, often through change over time. So the things that make a difference, not perhaps in weeks, but in months and years. All organisations forever have needed to change. It's arguable that organisations need to change faster and more regularly now than they ever have done with the advent of technology, the advent of globalisation, meaning that organisations are changing. They may be changing because the competition is changing. Financial imperatives are another force for change. New opportunities, new legislation, expectations of the workforce. All these pressures to need to change. An organisation looking to change will look at adapting, will look at coordinating its activity, and look at somehow measuring the results it gets. There was, and still is, a huge interest in analysing and researching what makes change successful. And when that research started, and I guess it probably started in the 1960s at places like Harvard, it's then spread across all the world, that interest. But it's been clear ever since then that most organisations trying to change fail. Most organisations fail in their change initiatives. We hope to look at that over the next few minutes. So in terms of adapting, what can an organisation adapt? Well, it can adapt what it does, its range of products or services. It can adapt its strategic plans. It can coordinate its activity through organisational structures and tight designs of what people will do, the designs of jobs. It'll hold everything together through some kind of leadership. The way things are done and the systems that lie behind them will be important in some way. And I guess, if anything over the last 10 years has become more and more refined and more important, it's been measures of performance. Every organisation is beset with measurements, with figures, with quantitative ways of describing how we're doing right now. But there's something in there as well about this term organisational climate. I'm not going to define that right now. I'll define it in 2 or 3 minutes' time. But let me say at the moment that it's something that is around the culture of an organisation, but isn't quite that. Let's have a look. So we know that most organisations, by far the majority, over 30 years of research, change has generally not succeeded. And where that was the case, there was an emphasis on the top part of that diagram that I just showed you. So what I mean is, there was an emphasis on structuring, designing jobs, designing the perfect diagram of how the organisation would interrelate, strong leadership, measuring what impact are we having on the numbers of things we produce, the numbers of people we serve, the financial results of our organisation, all those things. And yet, where change failed, there was that emphasis. Where change succeeded, a smaller proportion, there was a real balance of attention. The top part of that diagram wasn't ignored, but the lower route, the way things were done,
the behaviours that people use, the behaviours that were promoted, the behaviours that were discouraged, and something about organisational climate. I still haven't defined that for you. So that there's a balance across the two. So it's a predictor. If this is ignored, it's a predictor of failure. Where this is balanced, it's a predictor of success. Right, let's dig into some of this stuff now. How can we somehow define climate? Many of you may recognise this as a description of culture. And climate is a bit like a subset of culture. The difference is that culture is such a huge, wide, difficult to get hold of characteristic of an organisation, though it is very important. But climate gives us something that we can get hold of, that we can make difference to quite quickly. So let's have a look. I like language, and I like tight language that doesn't take many words to get its meaning across. And I really like this phrase here, because climate, there's no spare words. It's what it feels like. It's not about any absolute. It's about what somebody feels is the case. It's in the eye of the beholder, as we say. It's quite localised. We're not talking about across the entire organisation. We're talking about generally in a work group that has a leader. What's it like in there? What does it feel like in there? The other part of the phrase, right now. It can change very quickly indeed. There are examples of managing to change climate within hours and days by adopting different behaviours. So what it feels like to work here right now is our climate distinction. And this is where my title today came from. It's a quote from the South American entrepreneur and thinker, Ricardo Samler. He draws a distinction between a company that somehow buys the grudging compliance of its workforce, a company that instead enjoys the enterprising participation. And this is what climate can make the difference to. Some of this next part is about learning a new language. Learning a language of terms to define parts of this climate. So let's learn that language. One of the terms to understand is this thing about discretionary effort. The research that's been done suggests that when this is right, when people feel this is appropriate, that they're willing to give 20% more. When they don't feel it's appropriate, they will drop away from what they could give. So as an idea, as something that gives us an advantage or not, this is where it gets to be important. Discretionary effort. How much is someone willing to give beyond just the baseline? If you like, it's going the extra mile, or it's the oil in the machine. It's what all your organisations actually thrive on, and sometimes you don't notice when it's not there until something bad happens and you realise, oh, you know, you haven't got that kind of discretionary effort. Right, here are 6 dimensions of climate that add up to a picture on what makes the difference for this discretionary effort. I have no doubt that there are other models of climate, so I'm not offering this as the perfect model, but it is one that's well researched, that you can follow through with some of the literature if you wish, and that I think is sufficiently simplified but not oversimplified to get the nuances out. Okay, we have these 6 dimensions. For each of them, They have a specific meaning that may not be quite the same as the first thing that springs to mind when you read the word. So we're going to go through the 6. Let's take flexibility. Most of the characteristics have 2 subsets within them. And for flexibility, we're talking about 2 things. We're talking about, do I think there's unnecessary bureaucracy, unnecessary rules and procedures that stop me giving them my best, that are irritating, that get in my way? That's one part. The other part is, do I feel that I can get new ideas accepted in this organisation, or are they constantly pushed away? I mentioned that this is in the eye of the beholder. It's not about what the chief exec thinks. It's not about what the director of strategy thinks. It's about what people who are there as workers and leaders in the organisation feel. I'll give you an example. I work quite a lot in the nuclear industry in the UK. That industry, I'm glad to say, is very strongly regulated, and that regulation means that there's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of procedures, a lot of rules about how everybody does everything, including, touching anything with a tool requires a long permit process and so on. I'm sure you're familiar with this. I would find it very restricting. I would find it almost impossible to work in that environment. But if you ask people generally inside the nuclear industry, do they think there's bureaucracy that gets in the way? They'll say no. No, I don't think that. Remember, it's in the eye of the beholder. It's not what somebody objectively thinks, it's what people subjectively feel. And they are educated from the moment they set foot into that career, the moment they set foot into that sector, that this high level of rules and processes and procedures is vital. They know why it's there. It doesn't feel to be unnecessary. So in general, in the nuclear industry, people don't have a big issue with feeling flexibility is not correct. Okay, let's move on to the next. Responsibility. Responsibility is pretty simple. It's about, do I feel that I can get on with it without having to constantly check back with my superior, my boss, my line manager? Can I actually get on with doing what I've been asked and what I've set out to do? And also, do I actually feel that I'm accountable? Do I feel it matters how I perform? Do I feel it matters if I do what I said I would do? Responsibility, fundamental. The next one, I guess, is often misinterpreted because the word standards usually means we must have high standards. And I can understand that, but in this context it means something slightly different. If an individual feels that standards are appropriate, we're talking about, do they think and feel that the senior team is serious? And how they know the senior team's serious is that stretching targets are set for individuals and for groups, but really importantly, mediocrity is not put up with. I don't necessarily mean that underperformance is immediately resulting in somebody being moved out of an organisation. No, not at all. But I do mean that if I'm happy with standards in my organisation, I know inside myself that we don't just turn a blind eye to somebody who isn't performing. We support them, or we do something that moves that performance. We don't just simply put up with it. So that's the standards. Rewards is both simple and also very difficult, and I think it takes a lot of talent to get this right, really. If we know that part of the standards dimension was about feeling that mediocrity is noticed and something's done about it, in the rewards section, it's the other side of that. It's knowing that if somebody does good work, that is specifically noticed, rather than just broadly, hey, everybody's done very well. It's kind of, I want to acknowledge that your contribution to this project, this outcome, was particularly important. Doing it in the right way for that individual, making them aware of the fact that their good work is noticed and that somebody cares. The differential relationship is important. And if you think where this research came out, it was happening probably in, I suppose it started in about the middle of the 60s, early perhaps in the 60s. And if you think what happened in corporate life from then on, there were a lot of efforts to create structures for rewards to get the best out of people that were about paying them more, or about giving them some benefit that was an external benefit. Actually, it's not really about that. It's about an individual knowing that their good work is recognised. And all those other things are just symbols. They're just kind of ways that we've created to illustrate that. But the most effective illustration is probably the leader with their persona themselves recognising that and somebody knowing that they've been recognised. Okay, let's move on. Clarity. Clarity again has two important parts. It's about, do I feel as though I understand the big picture? Do I understand where we're trying to go? Do I understand what we're trying to do overall? Do I know what we're really about? And the second part, do I understand what I need to do in order for that to contribute to the big picture? I believe it's a true story. I wasn't there, so I don't know for sure, but I believe it's a true story, that there were a group of diplomats and possibly military people visiting the east coast of the United States in the middle 1960s, I think, and they were shown to a large hangar facility, a large building, which was empty. There was some intrinsic feature of the building that was worth people noticing, or whether it was the construction, it doesn't matter. And in the building, there was a man with overalls on and a brush, and he was brushing metal, bits of metal, out the side of the hangar. And one of the visitors went over to this man and said, "Excuse me, what do you do here?" And this guy put his brush to one side and said, "Me? I'm helping put a man on the moon." And it's a great example of what we're talking about with clarity. What I'm actually doing is I'm brushing up bits of metal that have been caused by machining parts. But what I know that fits into, overall, is the space race, getting a man on the moon before anybody else did. That's clarity in its a nutshell. Okay, the last one, and this is where I came into this. This is why this is interesting to me particularly. So team commitment. Do I think that people are proud to belong to my work group? Do I know that people will provide some extra effort when it's needed and won't just sort of not be there for me? And do I trust that we're actually working towards the same goals, all of us? Now, myself and my colleague Ian here, we began in this industry during a time in the UK where a lot of manufacturing industry was in decline. And in particular, the car industry, the motor industry was in decline. And we worked quite a good deal in British motor manufacturers, Rover Group particularly, where a group might have been radically cut up and downsized, and our brief would be, can you do something with this group to restore some sense of pride in themselves and in each other? Can you work with them so that they believe they're all working towards the same end? And we would design something and run it either up in the Lake District where our base is, or we'd run it down in their centres in the Midlands of the UK. There'd be lots of energy, lots of participation, and then we'd go back 3 months later and we would visit some of these managers and people, executives, in their workplace, and they would greet us what a great couple of days we had in the Lake District, what a great event we did in, wherever it was, Birmingham. And then you would ask questions about, well, how is it right now in your business? And people would often take a bit of a breath and explain that things weren't very good at all. If anything, things were now worse than they had been a few months ago. Despite their best efforts, the morale, the sense of people being prepared to give of their best was disappearing and slumping. Now that, for somebody working in that environment, like myself and Ian, that is very depressing. That is a very sad feeling to have. And when I came across this research a few years later, I began to understand a little bit more, because there is a hierarchy to these dimensions. They're not all the same. And this dimension of team commitment, where we had been asked to start, that's not where you start. It's not where you start. It's what you get as a result of these things being felt to be satisfactory for an individual. Then you start to get team commitment, rather than before it. So nowadays, we would be very concerned about doing a piece of work that simply was about building pride or building a sense of we're all pointing the same way, without knowing that some of this was felt to be satisfactory, because this works for us. Now, as I stand here, I don't know whether it works for you, because I haven't been in your organisation, so I wouldn't presume to know about the ways of thinking, the ways of being motivated that happen here. But I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I'm hoping that between us we can find out a bit more. So, let me remind you that this stuff is about a person's perception of a gap. The gap between how an individual feels it is and how they feel that dimension should be. What I'm going to invite you to do for just a moment is think about a particular work group inside your organisation. This might be the people who report to you, or it might be a department that you know well, but it is a fairly tight group. I'd suggest that it's no more than, say, 20 people. It might be as small as 4 or 5, but it's a particular group. Put yourself, rather than in your role now, put yourself in the shoes of a typical member of that group, and just have a think about what their perception might be about each of those climate dimensions. And I'll put the slide back in a moment. Would that person perceive any gaps? If they would, in which dimensions might they perceive a gap? Think for a moment. I'll put the slide back up. And we'll just take a kind of 2 minutes or so of thought. There is an order to it. For the time being, I suggest that you just think about all of them with a similar amount of weight. So we'll just use that as a kind of reminder, really. Okay, I appreciate this would be easier if you had some note or some visual about what each of those breaks down to. So apologies for that. But what I'd like to do next is to have a conversation with somebody who's close to you. So it might be the person at your elbow. No more than 3 people having that conversation though. Share your thoughts. Share your thoughts about your own organisation, this work group that you've thought about, and where gaps might be for them. Okay, so just 2 or 3 minutes of discourse. So grab a person at your elbow, have that conversation. To you. For time, I can close quite shortly, or I can keep going with the next phase for about another 25 minutes of similar stuff around leadership style resulting from this. What would you prefer? Do you want me to try and tie it up in the next 5 or 10 minutes? Yeah? Great, okay, we have the signing and so on, don't we? Yeah, fine. Is this okay? Is this, yeah, all right. Good. So, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone, I apologise about inviting you to bring your discussions to a close, but if you want to do that in the next few seconds, that would be great. Okay. I think with any of these topics, with any of these ideas, the actual value and the learning doesn't so much come from the content. It comes from the discourse. It comes from the conversation. It comes from hearing, oh yeah, I didn't quite see it that way, or yes, there's something I could take from what you've just said in my organisation. So that's really where the actual learning and bite of these things take place. I'm going to bring my presentation to a close shortly. If you're interested in this idea, then probably the best place to move on to is a book called The New Leaders, which is current and describes with a lot of examples and anecdotes, most of which are actually in North America, but there we go, how this kind of works. And the obvious follow-on from this idea of climate, if it looks like, yes, climate is something that could make a difference, I think it's a topic that is a useful guidance for a leader, but it is not a direction for a leader. As a leader, you need to get things done as well, but paying attention to climate to keep getting the best out of people over time is, pretty fundamental to success. The next place to go with it would be to think about, so if we want to impact on climate, what are the sorts of behaviours as a leader that make a difference? Because the next part of the research, and I'm sorry to not expound this, but just to point it up, says that actually more than half of what people feel is the climate is a direct result of leadership behaviour. Yes, there's other stuff as well. There's other stuff about my history in the company, or even how my football team performed at the weekend, that makes a bit of a difference about how it feels. But more than half is to do with the styles that a leader chooses and developing that repertoire. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and I hope to spend some more time in Saudi. Thank you.
هناك طبعا ماجستير في الإدارة والقيادة. سنستغل حضورك وتشريفك ورعايتك للمناسبة. تعليقك على موضوع طال عمرك، ثم سنأخذ أيضا كلمة من الدكتور فايز الشهري أيضا يعلق على موضوع الطاقة. ماذا يستطيع القائد أن يصنع الفرق أو كيف يصنع الفرق؟
والله في الحقيقة صراحة كلام كان كثير منه مفيد جدا، والقائد يعني على حسب اللي أنا فهمته من محاضرة اليوم، أن مثل ما تفضلت يا دكتور، القدرة على التأثير. القائد اللي يقدر يأثر على الناس اللي أولا تكون عنده رؤية واضحة ورؤية يشارك فيها الناس اللي هو يبي يقودهم. وبعدها كنا نتكلم عن الدايمنشنز اللي طلبنا نتكلم عنها، وبالنقاش حتى وجدنا انه بدون الوضوح بالرؤيه في البدايه صعب انك انت مثلا تحدد الستاندرز وتحدد الريواردز والمرونه والمسؤوليات. فلابد الواحد ياخذها خطوه خطوه، يبتدي بالاساس اولا اللي هي مثلا الرؤيه، بعدين منطقيا يقدر يحط حتى الستاندردز، وبعدين ممكن انه يحط حتى المكافآت والمرونه وزي كذا. ولكن الاساس اللي هي التحفيز، كيف انك انت تحفز وكيف انك تؤثر، كيف انك تستفيد من الناس اللي انت تعمل معاهم اولا وتحسن فكرتك، وبعدين كيف انك انت تحفزهم. يعني انك هذه اسس يعني هذه اساس القياده على حسب.
طال عمرك بيئه القياده. ترى احنا نتعلم شيء ونتدرب على شيء في الممارسه التطبيقيه العربيه. ترى المجتمع مختلف تماما في تكوينه العاطفي. فهنا الفرق بين الاداره علم القياده الحديث والخطاب. وحنا لنا نمط من الممارسه. مثلا على سبيل المثال انت تصنف ماذا نجاح الملك عبد العزيز كقائد كزعيم عظيم، وعمل في بيئه في ليدر في قياده فطريه كيف استطاع التوصل بدون احنا ندرس؟ فانا اتكلم عن البيئه، وش علاقه البيئه بالقياده؟
البيئة لها، أتوقع أن لها تأثير كبير. فمثلا مثل ما تفضلت يا دكتور أن الناس عندنا عاطفيين شوي، فأتوقع أن التحفيز المعنوي له أثر أكبر عندنا من لا من تأثير التحفيز المعنوي في الخارج. يعني في الدول الغربية عندنا دائما، حتى ممكن تلاحظها على مستوى فردي، على مستوى المجتمع، دائما الأشياء القيم المعنوية لها أهمية كبيرة عندنا غير المجتمعات الغربية. فأتوقع أن التحفيز المعنوي يعني مثل ما تفضلت الدكتور.
هل القيم الدين لها أثر على القيادة؟
أكيد، الدين هذا أساس البليف سيستم عندنا، فأي شيء يتوافق أو فيه خدمة للدين أو للإسلام يعني تلقى الدافع كبير عند الناس للعمل والمواصلة فيه وش اسمه كحافز. والشيء اللي مخالف للشريعة دائما تلقى فيه ردة فعل، تلقى الموتيفيشن أقل أو في خوف، أو إذا الناس شعروا أن هذا الشيء مثلا ما هو يتوافق مع المنظومة العقدية، منظومة القيم اللي عندهم. أي.
شكرا.
الله يسلمك. الله يحفظك.
تعليق ولا توريد؟ لا أبدا. شكرا لك طال عمرك على المداخلة.
شكرا دكتور يوسف، وأيضا شكرا دكتور جل على المحاضرة الثرية، وأيضا التذكير بنقاط مهمة جدا في الإدارة. طبعا الإدارة في الغرب تعتمد على النجاح وتعظيم الربح في نهاية العام بشكل واضح. خلفيتي الشخصية في القطاع العام، وربما القيم الست الذي ذكرها الدكتور جل هي في القطاع العام ممارسة، وأيضا بحكم الخبرة قد تكون تحديات. يعني مثلا الوضوح، عادة يحتكر المدير أو الشخص المسؤول أو القائد يحتكر المعلومة حتى يستطيع أن تبقى الأهمية، وبالتالي تبقى توزيع الموارد بحسب ما يرى هو، ليس بحسب المعايير التي هي الشرط الثاني أو بحسب ما ينبغي أن يكون الحوافز. في القطاع العام خاصة في العالم العربي، وهذا ربما مشكلة. وأيضا في بريطانيا كما أعرف، أيضا عشت فترة في بريطانيا، القطاع العام يعاني من علل كبيرة، لا يعتمد على الربح، الموظف مضمون الراتب والبونص في سيستم معين أو العلاوة السنوية، الحافز الفردي ضعيف، العمل الفريق هو عمل تنافسي وليس عمل تنافسي شديد تحشوبها الغيرة وأيضا أحيانا المكائد والوشايات. ولذلك ربما هذا ينجح في شركات التي تعتمد على الربحية ومقياس الربحية وعلى مستوى الإنجاز كل ربع سنة وفي نهاية العام. أيضا من المشكلات في القطاع الخاص في العالم العربي، من ملاحظة وعمل في بعض القطاع الخاص كمستشار، أن القيم أيضا يصعب تنفيذها بسبب الخوف من سرقة الأفكار والتنافس، وأيضا المجال ضيق جدا في الأعمال لا زالت في بداياتها. يعني معظم الشركات الفردية وحتى شركات العائلات جاوز 40 عام عمره هو عمر جيل حالي، فبالتالي الكلاريتي أو وضوح الرؤية في القطاع العام مشكلة، لأنه يعتبر يفقد المدير أهميته. وفي القطاع الخاص تطردها السرية التي تفرضها طبيعة التنافس وثقافة المنظمات في القطاع الخاص في العالم العربي. شكرا.
شكرا دكتور يوسف على الدعوة، وأعتقد هذا نقاش مفيد، لأن أعتقد البلد كلها في حاجة أنها تعرف كيف تدير التغيير. احنا في مرحلة تغير كبرى على كل المستويات. أنا أعتقد يعني الموضوع القيادة، أنت أعطيت مثل بالملك عبد العزيز رحمه الله. أعتقد يعني واحد من أسرار نجاح الملك عبد العزيز في سعي لتوحيد المملكة وإنشاء الدولة كانت قدرته على تجميع عناصر القوة وتفعيلها، وبالتالي هو القائد ناجح كان يعطي مثال لكيفية مشاركة هذه العناصر في تحقيق الأهداف الكبرى. لم يكن يعني العاملين مع الملك عبد العزيز أو القادة اللي عملوا معه وحتى جنوده ما كانوا في غائبين تماما عن الهدف الرئيسي الكبير اللي كان يحمله في ذهنه. لذلك أنا أعتقد هذا جزء من النجاح اللي قابل للتطبيق على جميع المستويات إلى أصغر المنظمات اللي نتكلم عنها، وخصوصا في المنظمات الربحية. مسألة أخرى هي اللي يمكن اللي أشار لها الدكتور فايز قبل شوي، أنه الفرق بين العمل بالقطاع العام والقطاع الخاص. أنا أعتقد أنه لا يجب أن يكون فيه فرق. إذا كان القطاع الخاص ممكن قياس ربحيته بالعنصر المالي بكمية الأموال اللي يكسبها، أعتقد ممكن في أدوات قياس للأرباح التي يحققها القطاع العام بقدرته على النجاح في أداء المهام الموكلة إليه، وكذلك أيضا في المنظمات الغير ربحية. فلذلك القياس أعتقد المقاييس يجب أن تكون وحدة. شكرا.
مساكم الله بالخير جميعا. عبد الرحمن طوع. من خلفية عسكرية حبيت أطرح قضية الثقافة، الكلتشر، الثقافة السلوكية. في مقولة أنك تستطيع أن تبني سفينة حربية خلال 4 سنوات، ولكنك تحتاج ربما 400 سنة لتبني ثقافة البحرية. مشكلتنا أعتقد اللي نحتاج أن نعمل عليها كثير، كيف يمكن تغيير الثقافة السلوكية في المنظمات وفي المجتمع. وأكثر ما يحزنني يعني مشهدين. المشهد الأول اللي هو مشهد عجزنا عن العناية في البيئة، لما الإنسان يطلع ويشوف الانتهاك الصارخ للبيئة بسلوكيات عجزنا بجميع البرامج أن نغيرها. والثاني شيء الكفاءة في المنظمات المدنية والعسكرية للوصول. عندك أحدث معدات طبية مدنية عسكرية، لكن كيف نحفز؟ لأن القضية ما هي قضية تصف 4 طائرات وتقول 4 طائرات ذات راح تعطيني القوة الفلانية. هي قوة خوارزمية يعني تتضاعف بالكفاءة والفنون التي تعتمد على الثقافة السلوكية ضمن المنظمة. فأعتقد هي تغيير الثقافة هي جوهر أي عملية تغيير. وشكرا.
أولا أنا أشكرك دكتور يوسف على هالدعوة الكريمة وفرصة سعيدة للالتقاء بكم. أنا بنتقل إلى تجربة صارت معنا بالقطاع الخاص، نتكلم أنا عن القطاع الخاص. إنه بدأنا في المرحلة الكريتية اللي هو الوضوح، حققنا الهدف وطلبنا من جميع العاملين اللي في المنشأة عندنا، وتتحدث فيها مع أبو طلال احنا جالسين، إنه في عندنا هدف لابد أن يصل له، وأعطيناهم الأهم شيء اللي هو الصلاحية وأيضا الثقة وأيضا مسألة الولاء. كون انه العاملين معك في الفريق او في المصلحه او في المنظومه اللي تشتغل فيها في نوع من الولاء، فتفاجأنا مفاجأة كبيرة انهم يشتغلون ويؤدون اعمالهم لتحقيق الهدف في الوقت منجز، ليس فقط للعائد المادي، العائد المادي كلنا يبحث عنه، ولكن ايضا لربط النجاح باسماء الفريق. فانا اتصور دائما إذا وضعت الهدف أمام الجميع مرتبط في أيضا الأرباح العائدة لهم، سيحقق نجاح منجز مع خلق الولاء للمنشأة أو للتيم اللي يشتغل. شكرا جزيلا.
دكتور القيادة
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. شكرا دكتور يوسف، شكرا مستمر العنود على الدعوة الكريمة اللي اعتدنا عليها صراحة في برامج يعني مستمرة الحمد لله مستدامة وتخلق أثر مستدام، وهذا لب الإدارة. يمكن صراحة يعني أكد على كلام الدكتور عبد العزيز العنقري لما ذكر موضوع أن أحيانا رؤية تكون واضحة، فهذا أدعى أن يشارك فيها العاملين والموظفين. أعتقد أن احنا نتطور عندنا في التسويق شيء يسمونه التسويق الداخلي، أنك أنت بحاجة، وهذا شفناه حتى في العمل الخيري، بحاجة أنك أنت تسوق أفكارك وأهدافك وقيمك ومشاريعك للموظفين، لأن إذا ازداد إيمانهم فيها من باب أولى صراحة أنها تنعكس على الإنجاز وعلى الإنتاجية وعلى شعورهم حتى بالراحة أثناء العمل وتقليل الضغوط. وهذا أيضا يعني يصب صراحة في من باب التحفيز اللي ذكره سمو الأميرة عبد العزيز في البداية. وشكرا جزيلا.
الله موسى بس يقول لي على قيادة المؤسسة غير الربحية. وش المعول ان هالدبلوم يعالج هالمشكلات؟ الدكتور سالم.
لا.
تكفى الدبلوم وحل هالمشكله، ما هي مقابلات اختيار المنظمات الدوليه؟
جميل.
ما هو دور الدبلوم انه يعالج؟
جزاكم الله خير. اولا انا سعيد بحضور البرنامج ومشاهده هالشراكه الجميله وهالفعاليه في انطلاقتها. القياده لما تتحدث عنها تتحدث عن عنوان كبير جدا، وفي وجهة نظري يمكن يعرف الكثير القريبين مني أن القيادة أعطيها أولوية متقدمة جدا في نجاح أي منظمة، فما بالكم بالمنظمات الغير ربحية. القائد هو مفترق طرق ورقم صعب في نجاح المنظمات الغير ربحية. لما وفقت مؤسسة العنود في التركيز على القائد، فهي ركزت على مفتاح نجاح المنظمة بعد توفيق الله سبحانه وتعالى. القائد هو حلقة الوصل في المجالس داخل المنظمة. القائد هو مسير المنظمة لتحقيق الأثر المطلوب منها في الواقع. القائد في المنظمات الغير ربحية هو الحقيقة إن لم يكن مهيأ تهيئ كامل للمكان المكلف به والمعني به، فبالتالي نحن نفقد مورد مهم من موارد التنمية ومؤثر جدا. القائد إذا استطعنا أن احنا نميز القائد فاحنا نتجه للتميز في مواردنا، وإن لم نستطع فاحنا نخسر حجم كبير من الموارد، لأن القائد داخل منظماتنا وخاصة في توجهنا ولا زلنا يعني ناشئين في العمل المؤسسي هو يعتبر المحرك الأساسي، وهذه استحقاقات مرحلة لا بد أن نعترف بها. حقيقة لو كنا متقدمين في المعمل المؤسسي قد لا يكون القائد يعني يأخذ هذا النصيب الكبير من الاهتمام، لكن في مرحلتنا الآن قائد المنظمة نصيبه من المسؤولية نصيب كبير جدا والمعول عليه كبير جدا، فبالتالي الاهتمام به والعناية به كمفتاح تأثير المفترض يكون بهذا الحجم وأكبر. عندي كلام كثير لكني أنا ما أصلح أمسك مايك، بأصبح بكم كما يقال. أكتفي بهالقدر وجزاكم الله خير.
أيها الحفل الكريم، نستأذنكم يا صاحب السمو في أن نبدأ مراسم توقيع الاتفاقية، والتي يمثلها من مؤسسة الأميرة العنود الخيرية سعادة الأمين العام الدكتور يوسف الحزام، ومن مؤسسة بريثاي التعليمية السيد البروفيسور أندرو. فليتفضلوا مشكورا. أيها الحفل الكريم، نشكركم على حضوركم، كما ندعوكم للمشاركة في الاحتفاء معنا بتقطيع الكيكة الخاصة بهذه المناسبة.
في ملخصات بسيطة وفي اتفاقية يحتاجون بس أن نمر عليها ونوقعها كل باسمه، وإن شاء الله تعالى نبدأ على بركة الله، وإن شاء الله تعالى يجعله من العلم النافع المبارك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
This program in the city تمكين المجتمع.
Hello everyone, this is Nawaf Al-Harbi. I'm a project engineer. I'm working with العنود investment.
السلام عليكم، الدكتور فهد العريفي, consultant emergency medicine and doing anything. Faisal Adwish, CEO of Veolia العربية, company specializing in water and environmental services. Thank you.
Hi, I am Abdulaziz Al-Karadis. I am the assistant of the General Secretary of العنود Foundation.
السلام عليكم. I'm محمد عبد العزيز المسعد. I'm working at الجزيرة Bank as a community service manager.
السلام عليكم. حسن القحطاني. I'm working as accountant in العنود Foundation.
السلام عليكم. محمد بخش. I'm acting manager of human resource management at العنود Foundation.
Hello everyone, it is my pleasure being part of العنود Foundation, and I'd like to thank Dr. Yusuf Al-Huzaim for our humanitarian leader for this opportunity, giving the العنود employees and supporting the non-profit sector in Saudi Arabia. My name is Abdulaziz Zakri. I work as a PMO manager in العنود Foundation. Thank you.
السلام عليكم. I am Aziz Salah Al-Dashil. I am the manager of community empowerment program.
السلام عليكم. علي القزيم. I am HR coordinator at العنود.
السلام عليكم. عبد الله محمد العويم. I'm working at العنود Foundation as a manager of Warif Center for Youth Development.
أخوكم علي العماري. I work as Vice President of العنود Investment.
السلام عليكم. I am Musa Al-Musa. I work from Abdurrahman Al-Rajhi Foundation, Family Foundation. I am CEO.
السلام عليكم. سالم بن علي القحطاني. I'm working الحسيني Foundation in دمام. عبد الله الربيعة Director of Strategical Planning السبيعي Foundation.
البرنامج ان اليوم حنستعرض معاني البلان، كيف خططنا البرنامج. ذن صح ولا لا معتز؟ وبعدين حنروح على مستر اندرو، حيطلع يحكي لكم على محتويات محاور البرنامج التدريبي. اوكي، وبعدين في الجزء الثالث هل في جزء المحاضرة اليوم؟ أنشطة كويس بعد كويس، لأن بيني وبينك اليوم احنا معتادين على النوم العصر، حتقلبون حياتنا جحيم طبعا.
لا إن شاء الله لحظة. السلام عليكم. معتز منتاي from AIMS Research and Development Manager. زي ما تكلم الدكتور يوسف I'm just going to give you يعني short brief عن البرنامج وكيف وصلنا لهنا، وبعدين مستر أندرو from براثاي حيدخل في الديتيلز في الموديولز وليش اختيرت الموديولز. طبعا أول شيء الاندكشن هذا لمدة 3 أيام for 3 days، اليوم إن شاء الله وبكرة and Saturday. tomorrow حيكون في سيشن وهو what is leadership، وحيكون في معاها مصطلحات leadership. وفي القسم الثاني من اليوم حنسوي اللي هو الأونلاين أسسمنت. The online assessment for the online assessment we'll be using the laptops. هيكون في متواجد لابتوبات، بس الأخوان اللي حابين إن هم يجيبوا اللابتوب تبعه أو التابلت تبعه you're more than welcome، لأنه الأسسمنت حتكون by small groups، يعني حناخذ كل 5 أشخاص في وقت واحد، هي تستغرق من 30 ل 40 دقيقة لتسوي الاسسمنت. اوكي، هذا بخصوص الاسسمنت. بعدها لو نروح لموضوع الاندكشن، يعني تشوفوا اليوم نحن هنا في جانوري، نحن الحين في جانوري، فاليوم هو اليوم الاول من الاندكشن، وبكره وبعد بكره زي ما قلت انه حيكون في الارس اسسمنت بكره، وبعد بكره حيكون في اكتيفيتيز انشطه مختلفه واللي هي اكسبيرينشال ليرنينج. اوكي، ما ابغى احرق عليكم البرنامج او ايش شو اسمه، خليها مفاجاه شو اللي بيكون موجود بكره ان شاء الله. بعدها فبراير، في بدايه فبراير يوم 8 ويوم 9 اللي هو يبدا الموديول 1. اوكي، الوحده الاولى او الماده الاولى. الماده الاولى بعدها بنراجع الارس اسسمنت، لانه الارس اسسمنت فيك تسويه بالعربي وفيك تسويه بالانجليزي، لكن الريبورت لازم نطبعه بالانجليزي عشان يقدر اندرو وإيان يطلعوا على الريبورت ويعطوك فيدباك. ايش الستايل الموجوده عندك، ايش الستايل اللي انت حابب يعني في القياده اللي تفضلها واللي تتعامل معها، فهو ريبورت ان ديبث. اوكي، فبعدها في اللي هي assignment 1. خلال هذا اليوم في فبراير يوم 8 و9 و10 فبراير، اليومين الاولى حتكون مع مستر اندرو وإيان، واليوم الثالث هو حيكون مع ايمس. اوكي، ففي مدربين من ايمس حيكون باللغه العربيه، والتوبكس تبعه حيكون نفس التوبكس اللي اعطاها اندي وإيان اليوم اللي قبلها، لكن حندخل عليها الفليفر اللي هو الفليفر السعودي والفليفر والاسلاميك كلتشر في القياده. فيعني فرض انه هو بيتكلم عن الريزيلينت ليدر في القياده، فحناخذ مثلا شخص في القياده اللي هو نقدر نقول عليه الريزيلينت ليدر. اوكي، فهذا حيكون في فبراير. بعدها نجي على مارش واللي بيجي فيه موديول 2. موديول 2 في عندك الارس اسسمنت، دائما متابعه بالناحيه اللي نسميها زي الكوتشنج، زي التوجيه في الريبورت تبعك. فاول فقره بيجلس معاك يشوفوا انت وين وصلت، ايش الاشياء اللي طبقتها من شهر 2 لشهر 3. وبعدها بتطلعوا نفس البرنامج، يومين الاولى بتكون مع براثاي، اليوم الثالث يكون مع ايمس، وبعدها يجيكم assignment 2. assignment 1 حتسلم في مارش، وهي موجودة أصلاً معاكم في الكتيب في آخر صفحة التفاصيل أكثر. وبعدها بعد 3 أسابيع يجي موديول 3 في أبريل، وحتطلع على الارس اسسمنت واسسمنت نمبر 3. الاسايمنت رقم 3 بتكون تبع مارش بننفذها في ابريل. بعدها بنرجع للاسسمنت نفسه اللي سويناه في البدايه عشان نقيس اللي هو قبلي وبعدي، إيش اللي اختلف عندك؟ إيش الأشياء المهارات اللي طبقتها في القيادة؟ وفي شهر 4 من يوم 24 لفترة 5 أيام حيكون ال5 أيام ريزيدنشال اللي هي الزيارة لمركز براثاي اللي أندرو حيعطينا فيه تفاصيل أكثر، وحيكون فيه صور وحيكون فيه طبيعة البرنامج كيف حتكون هناك. ومن ضمنها حيكون اللي هو الفاينل بروجكت برزنتيشن. لازم كل جروب، هو يشرح لكم أكثر، لازم كل جروب اللي في الطاولة، خلينا نقول كل 5 أشخاص حيشتغلوا على بروجكت معينة من اليوم إلى أبريل. وفي أبريل لما نوصل هناك في براثاي حيكون في جادج بانل، يعني أشخاص من براثاي، فهم حيشوفوا البروجكت تبعكم، حيناقشوا البروجكت تبعكم زي اللي هي الديزيتيشن وثيسس. أوكي. هذه التوبكس أندرو حيشرحها أكثر، إيش داخل كل توبيك وكيف حيستهدف التوبكس هذه عن طريق إيش. يعني في منهم هنا الليدرشيب إمباكت أوثنتيسيتي والريزيلينس، وزي ما قلنا اليوم الأخير اللي هو اللي حيكون فيه كاستمايزيشن على الكالتشر تبعنا هنا. وهذا موديول 2 نفس الشيء، يستغرق 3 أيام. اليومين الأولى تكلم عن influence in leading change resilience in others، واليوم الأخير اللي هو اللي فيه الكالتشر. والموديول 3 the same concept، نبدأ أول يومين بالstrategic direction leading high performance and business planning، واليوم الأخير يكون فيه الأسايمنت. الآن الأسايمنت اختيرت هذه ال3 كتب. أوكي، فكل الأسايمنتس واليوم الأخير اللي قلنا اللي هو بالعربي بعد اليومين الأولى كلها عن هذه الكتب هنا. يعني عندنا دكتور Life and Management by دكتور غازي القصيبي، عندنا The Profit Leader by محمد شيد كتاب، عندنا assignment 3 هو Leaders in NPOs by Barry Dim and Harry Hudson. اوكي، تبغى تضيف دكتور؟
ما فيش ما من دون. طبعا كما تلاحظون في الموديل الاجنبي ان خلط ما بين الخطا اللي كنا احنا سويناه في الجامعه. الخطا كنا الناس يجون يدخلون البرنامج يعطوك مباشره. فاحنا عملنا انتروداكشن، واليوم وبكره وبعد كده انتروداكشن. تحيه توضيح الموديل 1 اللي المفروض يجي في الدفعه الثانيه. يمكن الواحد ما يجي الاسبوع. لا مهم للغايه. الموديل ليه؟ الموديل نعرف البرنامج اكثر.
قال لي ما احتاج
مصطلح القياده الان احنا عندنا هنا في القاعده نحولها. فكيف نحول نرفع المستوى المشترك؟ هذا هدفنا في هذا القياده. فالناس اللي عندهم قدرات عاليه يطولون بالهم. ليه؟ لان نبغى نعطي فسحه للناس اللي مستوياتهم الناضج حقت اقل تبدا. لا، ناس كثير دروا عن القياده لكن ما هم مستحضرين. نبغى نستحضر المصطلحات نرفع المستوى، نوصلهم لهذا المستوى. وايضا نضمن لما نبدا احنا ما نبدا نعتقد ان الناس بدوا يمكن يعجبهم لغه واحده بكره المصطلحات. الجميل في البرنامج ايضا زي ما حدثتكم الاسسمنت. هنا قياس الاثر، كيف نقيس الاثر. شكرا لك. كيف نقيس الاثر؟ وذلك تلاحظون ان القياس دائما موجود معنا. الامباكت دائما حنفكر بالامباكت، بالاثر. وكما شفتوا كان في برزنتيشن اللي عدها اندرو قبل قليل كيف الاثر كان قضيه مهمه وكبيره جدا دائما لقياس قدرات القائد على التاثير. فاحنا نبغى نبدا بهذه القضيه. ايضا لاحظتوا ادمجنا احنا موضوع الكتب، استفدنا فيه من الزماله. والزماله تلاحظون فيها خلطه، ايضا خلطه تجربه سعوديه. الدكتور غازي القصيبي كتابه رائع، وخلطه ايضا جبنا كتاب مهم جدا في القياده في المنظمات غير الربحيه. وجبنا ايضا البعد التراثي والقيمي في محمود شيد خطاب، كتاب من ارقى ما يكون اللي هو الرسول القائد. اوكي، فهذا شيء مهم. الجميل انا اتمنى ان شاء الله نتسابق على ابريل. المكان جميل يستحق حقيقه نروح هناك. لما توصلون هي ذروه البرنامج. ذروه البرنامج هي في ابريل في بريثاي. يعني ذروه البرنامج حتشوفون ان شاء الله الان القوارب، تشوفون الجبال، تسلقوا الجبال، الهايكينج والجو رائع. نعم، الجو في ابريل بيكون رائع ان شاء الله. فهذا حقيقه ما حبيت ان ننوه فيه في تصميمنا للبرنامج. البرنامج ما هو متقدم، ترى هو لا، ولا هو بيسك، ما هو بيسك. هو البرنامج حتكتشف انه يصعد معك صعودا حتى يصل الى مستوى ابر ميد ان صح التعبير، لكنه ما هو برنامج يعني معقد ما لم نعده لمستوى القادة المتقدم جدا، لان لاحظنا ان احنا لابد نكون في مستوى يرتقي الى مستوى مدراء ان صح التعبير، مستوى مدراء، بس ما وصلنا الى مستوى قادة. اتكلم عن قادة الالهام او ما يسمى قادة الالهام والزعامة. ما رحنا لهذا المكان، لان اغلب الحضور مستواهم من هذا القدر يعني، وشباب. نعم. فهذا المستوى حتلاحظون ان البرنامج يطلع معاكم صعودا شوية حتى ذروته توصل ولا تنسون ان البرامج التدريبية ذي تعتمد ايضا على الحوار وعلى الحوار الجانبي. ترى لا تنسون ان ايضا لا تحملون البرنامج كل شيء. ترى فرصة ذهبية للقراءات الجانبية الشخصية، ترى على فكرة فرصة ممتازة للحوار مع المدربين، انكم في البريك تاخذون. فاذا البرنامج ارجوكم ما هو برنامج لعب، هو برنامج تفاعلي يعتمد ايضا على قدراتكم وعلى تفاعلكم وعلى ايضا تحصيلكم الذاتي. اوكي، طيب، that's it. اندرو الحين. اندرو بليز. كل ربع ساعة ما ادري تتضايقون ولا لا، لكن كل ربع ساعة every 15 to 15 minutes معتز will brief give a summary in 2-3 minutes يعني overall، عشان للناس اللي برضو باللغة شوي ما لقطوا catch up some terminology يسعفهم انه يعطيهم البريف. هل هذا يضايقكم في شيء؟ احد يضايقه في شيء؟ اعتقد ان 3-5 minutes brief every 12-15 minutes، صح ولا لا؟ in Arabic, yeah. Please.
We'll be working with you. It's okay, I prefer to.
camera.
For the camera, I beg your pardon, sorry. Thank you. We're really looking forward to working with you on every one of the modules that you've seen, so you'll see a lot of us over the next 3 months or so. Okay. What do we hope to do today? We hope to introduce the programme. That's already in front of you in terms of its big picture. We'll do a little more with that. Really set out the shape, introduce each other. You may be familiar with the way that we're going to work, but many of you will not be. We work in a particular way. It's not like a training programme. We'll tell you more in a moment. And to begin the journey, actually begin working together. So yes, part of today is understanding how we will work, but a lot of today is actually starting the process of working together. Let me tell you about who we are, this organisation Breve. And I know that Dr. Youssef has given you some information there. I'm afraid I know about 3 phrases in Arabic, so I have no idea what he's told you. Yeah. So I may be telling you the same thing, I don't know. We've been established since 1946, and we specialise really in getting the best out of people, inspiring people to give of their best. We are a charity, we are a charitable foundation. The work that we do that is charitable is with young people across the UK who might be in some way disadvantaged, or it might be at some key transition in their lives. They might be involved with criminality in some way. They might be involved in needing to become workers from having been outside of that environment. all sorts of transitions. If you search for us on the internet, you will probably find that work. You'll probably find that. If you look a little harder, you will find this area, which accounts for about a little less than half of the work that we do. It has a separate group of people within Breve. We share some resources with our youth colleagues, but it's a separate sub-organisation really, and we do this. We work with organisations in the UK, in Europe, a little in North America, a little further afield, to develop people in terms of leadership, to develop teams, to develop organisations that feel they are aligned towards the same goals together. We've been doing that part of the work since about 1965, I think. I wasn't there then. Though I have been there a long time. I've worked at Breve for 32 years. My colleague Ian here has worked with Breve for 30 years, but I have known him for 35 when we were about this high together. So, okay. So, yeah, should we hand over to just get a summary? Do you want to summarise? What do you think? It's okay? Great. So, oops, missed my slide. There's the place. I'll show you quite a lot more of where our base is. It always looks like that. It never rains. There's never any snow. There's never any big winds. I'm lying. There's often winds and rain. So, okay. Let's look at the programme that we've developed with Dr. Youssef and Mutaz. I said that it's different from a training programme. Here's how it's different. We're going to offer opportunities to do these things. So to build an understanding of your own strengths as a leader in your organisation and your own development areas, things you believe it would be helpful for you to do more of or less of. We're going to help you build a set of leadership styles, a set of leadership behaviours that hopefully extends your repertoire across more situations and that is resilient, by which I mean when pushed or when events actually somehow don't work or you are prevented from doing what you want to do, it doesn't knock you over. You spring back and you are resilient in the face of setbacks. We'll think particularly about leading change. I recognise some of you from the earlier presentation. You just indicate with a hand if you were in the earlier presentation in the other room. So yeah, okay. So that was all about really thinking about how change can be made successful. We'll especially be driving towards how do you create an environment where people feel accountable, people feel as though they want to give of their best, people feel they want to deliver on what they've set out to. And the route to do this, and this is where it might be a little different from a training programme, is we intend to help you develop a personal development plan that's unique to each of you because you're all in different contexts. You all have different backgrounds. You're all in different parts of organisations, and some of you are in different organisations as well. So there is no one size fits everybody model for this. It's about enabling you to consider, where am I now? Where do I want to be? And what can I do with the support of my colleagues in the room and the support of Breve to help me move there? So, quickly, it's developing you as a leader and a contributor to your organisation. It's about further understanding and building on your strengths, and it's about getting the best out of people and the best out of yourself in a couple of lines. How are we going to work together? Well, experiential learning is a term that's used easily, but occasionally we might not define. Let's define it here. We're going to blend together action, doing things together, reflection on that action, and also reflection on your own work, reflection on your own history, reflection on your own work in relationships already. So you're bringing experience to the program and sharing that experience. And turning it to look forwards into plans for yourself and ways to support them. We'll work in various size groups. Sometimes we'll work in the whole group. We may break down right into 2s and 3s at times. We aim to build this idea of a climate that allows us a bit of challenge and lots of support. There won't be a lot of new concepts. There will be some. What we will try to do is make sure that anything we introduce, we have a chance to actually put into practice and consider, rather than, we have all this knowledge, but we have no application for it. Instead, we'll want to make sure that everything is firmly embedded. A lot of what we do is about helping people gather feedback from their colleagues in the room, feedback from their colleagues at work, and inviting them to look in a mirror and be prepared to see what is in the mirror looking back. We assume, though, that everybody has a unique context. It's not one size will work for everybody. We also want to work in a way where people know and trust that we won't have anybody feeling as though they're being made uncomfortable, or that they're being asked to do something that is not something that they would find useful. That's really important to us. So we hope to offer some challenge, but we intend to offer it by your choice as opposed to by our push. We work with guiding rather than directing, and we hope to engender some sort of commitment to your plans. So this is learning by doing, it's not learning by teaching. The learning will come from the dialogue and the discourse you have with your colleagues, more than it will from a set of slides and a set of books, although that will be important too. Okay. Is now a good time to just catch up in Arabic?
هو عنده أول شيء بدأ يعرف بنفسه. الشباب اللي كانوا حاضرين معنا في القاعة الثانية وقال إنه هو عنده له 35 years من عمره، وهي من الدرب الثاني له تقريبا 30 سنة وهم يرى بعض 35 سنة، وقال هذه طريق الأهداف اللي نبغى نوصل لها من خلال البرنامج هذا، إنه مو إنه كل واحد على ما استطاعته هو. اوكي، ما حنقول انه في كتاب معين او منهج معين انه لازم توصل، لا، كل واحد على استطاعته هو كيف نحسن من ذاته هو. اوكي، هذه اول نقطة. وكيف انه بعد ما انت حسنت من ذاتك ومن نفسك تسوي ريفلكت على المنظمة اللي انت شغال فيها، ومن بعدها تساهم في الفريق تبعك اللي تشتغل تعمل معه. دائما بعدها النقطة الثانية نتكلم عن انه اللي هي أنواع القيادات المختلفة والمرنة. أوكي، فهذا الهدف الثاني من البرنامج. الهدف الثالث اللي هو كيف إنك تفهم التغيير وتتغير معه، وكيف إنه تخليه يترك impact أو result أو أهداف في المنظمة اللي أنت تعمل فيها. وبعدها إنه الهدف الرابع اللي هو develop personal plan، إنه كيف أنت تسوي plan قوي و consistent، يعني مستمر. leader and contribute to your organization. اوكي، انه هنا فصلها اكثر انه نطورك انت كشخص وكيف انك تنفع الاورجنايزيشن تبعك او المنظمه، انه كيف أنت تفهم نقاط القوة عندك وتحسن منها، وإنه كيف نحن نقدر نطلع الماكسيمم منك أنت كشخص. The maximum we can take out of you. Okay.
And the people around.
And the people around you. That's the last one. هنا طريقة التدريب كيف حتكون؟ طريقة التدريب كان يقول إنه هو حيكون في دمج في المعلومات، حيكون في تطبيق اللي هي الاكتيفيتيز، وكيف إنه كل مرحلة نسوي لها ريفلكشن للمرحلة اللي قبلها، إنه نطلع على الموضوع اللي قبله، مو بس إنه سلايدز، لا فيها تطبيق. بعدها إن هم يحبوا يشتغلوا مع جروبات صغيرة، أوكي، عشان تكون الإفكت عالي جدا. وقال إنه خلال التدريب هذا حيكون في مفاهيم جديدة، لكن قال ما حنقول لك إنه خذ المفاهيم هذه وروح طبقها، لا، قال حنطبقها هنا عشان لما تروح لمنظمتك يكون الشيء قابل للتطبيق. والشيء الثاني اللي يعتمدوا عليه كثيرا في التدريب هو اللي هو الفيدباك من الجمهور، انه لازم الناس يكون في discussions، ولازم انه اللي هو مسميها looking in the mirror، انه كيف انت تنظر على نفسك في المرة وايش اللي تشوفه وايش اللي تبغى تشوفه تحسين يعني. وهم يعتبروا انه كل واحد له قدرات معينة ويؤمنوا بهذا الشيء. وبلانز، وانه الاشياء كلها this is learning by doing not learning by teaching. الموضوع اللي هو كل موضوع يطرحوه يحاولوا يسووا عليه تطبيق او اكتيفيتي معينه، مو بس انه سلايدات وما هي قابله للتطبيق. فهم يؤمنوا بانه السلوغان تبعها this is learning by doing and not learning by teaching. فقال انه في كتب كثيره، في فيديوهات كثيره، لكن هنا عشان نجي المفاهيم نطبقها أكثر من تكون بس يعني سلايدز ثيوري.
اوكي.
بالنسبة لإخوان الترجمة طرحت على بالي إحنا حنروح على الشرائع عشان التايم، لأن أنا خايف العربي يقطع الاتصال. إحنا ترى جالسين نطول الآن، فإحنا نعمل لكم سمري مع كل مجموعة من الشرائح بالعربي نطلعها على شو رأيكم الفكرة هذه؟ نهاية كل سيشن نحط شريحتين ثلاث بريف بالعربي يقراها الواحد وياخذها وانتهينا من دون احنا نقطع، هو يحطها. شو رايك بالفكره؟ على طول حاضرين على طول سامع. اوكي. I'm suggesting that next time we will take your presentation.
Yep.
Then give a summary in Arabic.
Great.
Just to slide it.
Yep.
Then you can use it for them without
without the translation bit. It's working for me quite well because I get to think about what I'm going to say next. Okay. This learning from experience, learning by doing approach, one of the key models behind it is this one, and it's the idea of a learning cycle. David Kolb and others have produced this idea. Unfortunately, the slide, you can't really see that there are arrows connecting these things, but let me describe what we mean. The learning cycle that we'll engage you in is having some kind of experience. That might be doing an activity together, or it might be recalling a particular time at work. Could be either. We'll structure some way of reflecting and reviewing on that. It might be a discussion. It might be asking you to answer a series of questions on paper. It could even be something about creating something that has some meaning about this experience. It'll then be considering, so what? So what am I? Because it might not be the same as this person or this person. What am I taking out of this experience and this reflection? And how am I going to apply that in future? So this part is very customized to the individual. This is why it's not a training program with an answer. It's about the reflection. What am I taking out of it? How will I apply it? And let me now challenge myself in declaring to my colleague or my colleagues how I intend to apply it into another experience, and then be able to review with them how I got on, so that we have this cycle of learning from experience. It sounds very simple. It's surprisingly difficult to fully engage with, actually. So that's the model that lies behind a lot of what we do. Right. You've seen a couple of slides that set this out in a timeline way. So some of this is news you've already had, but let me go through it anyway. We're here, and this is about setting out on the journey together. It is a journey. We are interdependent with this. You know, we haven't got the العنود Resilient Leadership book that we're going to pull off a shelf and then somehow do to you. We're going to build this together. We're going to build it together through the ERAS questionnaire, through our conversations, both today, what we invite you to get involved in shortly. We're going to be together on this journey. The first module, we're going to call it Leading from the Inside Out. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. We're then going to move to a Working in Teams module, as you know. And this third module here, we're going to call Developing Impact. And when you come across the UK, that really is going to be leadership in action. Okay, let's expand that a little bit now. Today, trying to give you the big picture, both talking about and then doing some things which will illustrate how we're going to do that, giving you the shape, beginning the journey. You know that. Leading from the inside out, the first module, things to be aware of and our focus there. First of all, we'd like to think that we were in casual and comfortable dress for that. And I want to just check out with Dr. Youssef and Mutaz. Would it be appropriate for us, for example, to be in business dress, or would it be appropriate for us to be more casual? Yeah, it's a question, really. What do you think?
Casual is fine.
Casual's fine, okay. And our colleagues?
Casual. We don't have a casual.
No, quite. Yeah.
We just one floor every time, you know.
That's great. Okay. We will explore that questionnaire, how it fits, how it can be used for your own development. We'll bring some of the behaviours and preferences that are in there to life by doing some practical activity. And we'll begin that plan. I'll ask you towards the end of this presentation to do something to prepare. Okay. The working in teams piece will be about teams. As a member or a leader, influencing without formal authority. It seems to us from our experience of working within NGOs, not-for-profit organisations, that piece around leadership, which isn't about having a hierarchical role, but influencing peer-to-peer or people outside the organisation is fundamental, and that's where we'll put that. Again, there'll be a blend, and again we'll work on these individual plans, working them up. The last module in the kingdom, how do we use leadership behaviours to both get the short-term goals achieved and to build getting the best out of people over time? So we'll be putting together some of the stuff from the earlier two modules. Thinking about how best to create the conditions for leading change. How do we develop real clarity and build accountability? We'll be thinking about your own vision for your own part of the organisation at that time. Again, really important part of what you're up to. And we'll prepare for the residential piece. Let's check my time, that's great. The residential, call Leadership in Action, 5 days long. We aim for it to bring together material from the other modules. Still in that cyclic way. We haven't designed it yet. We want to design it when we know more about your appetites, where you're starting from, your aspirations. But do expect a good deal of time will be spent outdoors in one way or another. Do expect that there'll be quite a lot of practical work. Again, we're not going to put you in a situation that isn't for you and you'll have every right all the way along the process to say, actually, I'm going to step out of this. I'll be fine. We intend that it's challenging, we intend that it's enjoyable, and really, I suppose that's why we're still in business now after so many years, that people do agree that it's that thing. Here we are, here's where we are. So I'm about to show you some slides of buildings in this area here. This is a lake called Windermere. It's the biggest in England, not in the UK, but in England. It's not very big by global standards, but we like it. The main building there is the kind of centre, and it's where Dr. Youssef and Mutaz visited us. Another shot of the main building. So various things there. One of our boat houses, accommodation.
I slept in this room.
That very bed, just there. So that's the pillow. We work a good deal away from Brethay. I'm working in Rome next week, but one. But the great thing about working at Brethay, when you have a group at Brethay, is you've got all these facilities, all these exercises that are available. And one of the oldest and still the most useful pieces of equipment are these large rowing boats. For thinking about leadership, for thinking about being a member of a team, it's a great environment. Not everybody is facing the same way. People have different roles, depending on, for example, the length of the oars and the power they put in, whether or not they're steering, whether or not they're navigating. They need to find a way of being interdependent. They need to find a way of having clarity about what's expected. So they're a great way to start talking about what leadership looks like. We work, as I mentioned, with challenge. Using aerial ropes course type activities and projects give us a really good environment to start finding out about that. So it's not about what's in your head. It's about how you're feeling. It's about your heart as well as your head. We don't intend that this is for everybody, but there will be opportunities to be involved like this. This actual activity involves these two people on the ground electing to work with one another for some reason. In fact, these two people had had quite a difficult relationship at work in the preceding months. They had been in conflict through no fault of their own, really. They were brought into to conflict by circumstances. And they chose to work together on this, which represented a bit of a risk for them. Their colleagues on the ground, who you can't see, are down here somewhere, they are holding ropes that you can just about make out there on the back of these harnesses.
Safety.
Yep.
For the safety.
Yeah. So these people are about 8 meters off the ground, and they're making their way palm to palm, wider and wider across these ropes, and trying to go as wide as they can. They start that process in this sort of shape, and they can look after each other, but they are looking after themselves, really, but they're giving the other person a little bit. In order to make a breakthrough, in order to make a real difference, they need to do something different. They need to commit to each other, and then suddenly they can go an awful lot further. But that moment of commitment and that, are we going to do this together? We said we'd do this, but are we really going to do it? That's the essence, I suppose, of what we talk about. We talk about commitment. There will be some things at Brethay that everyone in the room will think, actually, that might not be for me today. That's okay. It's opportunity. It's not about being pushed to things. Right, so where are we?
If you can give me, if you allow me for a comment, from the one area, which is very good one, this is stimulating for mindfulness.
Yep.
during this is like their whole brain is just stop thinking anything except to get their
Correct.
So after this exercise, they went through like a clarity. I mean, people after such a things, they will be more sharp in their thinking, and they will be also, apart from the team sort of collaboration, but mindfulness is part of any leadership. If you need to be a leader, you need to practice mindfulness. One of the mindfulness is meditation, but one of the things that they make it much easier is to put them in a difficult situation like
focus.
This one. So their whole neurons, their conscious and their subconscious, just to balance this one. So this is one of the easy target to develop such a...
Thank you very much. I might ask you to say that again in your own language.
Okay, sorry.
So
هي طبعا القادة علشان يكونوا القادة لازم
اريح لك قبل ما توقف.
نعم. القادة وهم قادة لازم يصير عندهم خصائص من ضمنها الذكاء العاطفي، من ضمنها الحضور، الذهن، الفوكس. واحدة من الأشياء اللي الآن تدرس هي هاو تو جيت فوكس، كيف بدك تركز. مشكلتي مع كثير من كل ما صرت مشغول صرت مشتت. واحدة من الأشياء اللي تساعدك على الفوكس is mindfulness. المايندفولنس كيف تسويها؟ انك تبدا الصلاه عندك، انت تقول as a mindfulness that will be great. لانه بعدها during the mindfulness وتشوفون what's happening in the brain, الالكتريكال ويف حقتها gets synchronized، تصير مرتبه، there will be في هرمونات كثيره من ضمنها هرمون السعاده، اشياء كثيره كلها تخرج من المرحله. فالمايندفولنس بهالطريقه هي اقرب شيء انك تجعلك تتطور عندك مهاره التركيز اللي هي اصلا من متطلبات المايندفولنس بالعربي اسمها حضور الذهن.
حضور الذهن.
طبعا حضور الذهن لما شيكوه مع الناس اللي مثلنا في حياتنا العاديه لا نحضر في الذهن الا 40%، 60% يسوي شغل ومخنا في مكان اخر. 40% لما حللوها
اوكي لا جد بالعكس
40% لما حللوا وش الوقت اللي كان الشخص يسوي العمل ومخه حاضر. طبعا هذا متزوجين.
سقطتوه ولا لا؟
Thank you very much. That's really good. Okay. Yes, yes. Let's just go back to that slide for a moment. We talked a lot about the challenge that's involved and the focus and the mindfulness that's involved in that. I just want to point out there's something else going on which is really important. And I've mentioned the word a couple of times, and I've talked about support. So I've occasionally taken photographs of this activity for promotional terms. The photographs that are the most useful and the most informative are not photographs of these people. They're photographs of the people down here who are looking after their colleagues. And they're photographs of attention, of pride often, of wanting these people to succeed, and the graphic photographs that capture the idea of support. And that's something that we'll be building across this group during these months. Once again, it's not a military environment, it's not being pushed to do things that aren't right for you, but those are the opportunities that are around really.
And also the people in the ground, they look at them as role models.
Yes, yes. What we'd be careful to do is to not imply that to be successful I need to be up there, because I'm not going up there again. But nevertheless, yes, you're right. So, okay, here's where we are again. You saw an earlier photograph on a misty day. Here's a photograph on a clearer day. The River Brave that gives its name to our place comes in there. Little town of Ambleside is over here, you can't see it. And Windermere is down there. Whoa, okay. Ian, how long do we have to our next break? I wonder if we could start the process of what we were going to do and then split it and come back and bring two groups together. What do you think? Yeah? Okay, folks, I said that we wouldn't just talk about what we were going to do. We'd also in some way engage you in doing some things together. And I'd like to hand over to my colleague Ian here, who will take us into that first piece. So.
Is it possible to put this converting cycle back?
Yeah. There we go.
Hello.
We have 20 minutes until the Maghrib prayer.
That's right.
So we'll continue 20 minutes more.
Yes. So we showed you this model, and one of the most important ways that we work is rather than talking about something, is actually doing something. It's important to learn, but sometimes some learning is more important than others. And the best type of learning is when you've had an experience, because you can relate to it and you can talk about it. So we're going to have an experience, and we're going to talk about our learning. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to divide the group equally to 10 people in that side of the room, in the corner, and 10 people in that side of the room. So 2 groups.
Now?
You can do that now.
Yeah.
That's great. So 10 people per group. I've got the slide right. That'll be absolutely fine. Excellent. So, what we're going to do is called a group juggle. And we've got a request of how it works on the board there. So I'm going to give each group a bag of juggling balls. You're probably familiar with them. It's what people use to juggle with. We're going to give it to you. We're not going to get into juggling that way. We're going to ask you to form a circle. And we're going to ask you to do what's required of you on that board there. Can you all read that?
So just to run through it, develop a pattern of throwing a ball across the group. So it's across the circle, not round the edge, it's across the circle. So that everyone in the group catches it and throws it once until it comes back to the person who first threw it. So one ball across the group in a pattern till it comes back to the person who first threw it. We'll then ask you to do something else around developing a perfect display, but initially let's set that pattern in both the groups.
So if you can form a circle,
do a circle.
And if you guys can form a circle. A big circle. I'm going to give you your ball back. So, just a little bit of clarification. When the ball is passed, you just go across the circle. You cannot pass the person next to you. So before you start, you can't spend all the time just talking about how you will do this. The successful attempt is for the ball to go around back to yourself without being dropped early.
Okay. If one of you introduces the juggling ball, I think it's yourself. If it's thrown to a colleague across the group, that colleague will then throw it to another colleague, back and back and back, until the last person returns it to you. Okay? Well, we want it to be a pattern that you can reproduce. Okay, it might take a couple of goes before you get to that. So you're trying to establish a way of doing it that you can do again and again. Okay. Sorry, I had to move your camera, but I tried to point it to what was going on anyway.
نسوي واحدة عشان بعدين نبدأ. We are correct.
Okay, great. I think there must be some engineers in the group. Offset one? No? All right. It might be. Yep. It might be at the end. You need to pass directly to your colleague who threw it in, rather than back to this colleague. I think. Have one more go so that you establish that pattern. Same pattern. Perfect. Okay. What do you notice about what people need from you and what you need from people here? What do you notice? Anything?
Organization.
Yeah, okay. And what sort of organisation?
I need to know where I think what's important now, everybody is focusing when the ball will come to me, so I can throw it back.
Yeah. So I'm just focused on who I'm getting from and who I'm giving to. I don't worry about this. I just focus on who I'm receiving to. What else am I focusing on? I'm probably focusing on making sure that the person I'm throwing to is getting something they can hold. And it's not up here, it's not down here. It's perfect for their needs rather than my needs, their needs. Okay. So one more pattern.
المرة نبدأ من هنا.
You got to remember.
لا اوكي لا خلينا نبدا من هذه واضحه انا بس بغير بالمنتاليتي من الحين نبدا الحين انت تبي تذب على هنيه واذا بعدين
هو يبدا
هو يبدا انت تبدا بعدين حتجيك الكره من هالرجال
غير الشكل نفس الحركه
لا هذا تسوي يلا
Let's try one more time to make sure we wasn't complete.
It's a different pattern. You've changed the pattern.
Shall we keep the same pattern?
You need to know that you can do the pattern again and again. I don't mind if you change it before you know that.
But he advised us to change the pattern.
Okay, providing you know what the pattern is, that's okay. Let me see your pattern again. So this is the pattern that you've set. Show me what it looks like.
خلوكم الحين كم الحين 4 هنا 5 هذا سبب they should know يعني because we have 11 we will never have this unless
you just pass on. Yeah, that's fine. You can do one of those pass-ons. I can't. I need to do something else shortly. An important thing.
Should be an even number only? What about
no, an odd number works, but just at the end you have to do that, pass it to the next person. It works okay. It's okay. I just want to be sure that you've got a pattern you can do again and again and that you don't need to change, okay? So have one more go and establish this pattern.
always he throws to me. أنا نمبر 1. أوكي. وين حدبها هنا. 1 2 3
Now we're talking.
5 6 7 8 9 10.
And then pass.
يا سلام عليك. خلاص.
Perfect. Remember that pattern. Remember that pattern. Now you have a bigger challenge. Lots more balls. Hang on to that a moment. So if we look at the board again, using that pattern, exactly the same pattern, deliver a perfect display, and I'll tell you what perfect is in a moment, of group juggling for a minimum of 1 minute, using the number of balls chosen by yourselves that's a challenge to you. Now I should say that 1 ball is no challenge. You've done that several times. What's no challenge there? Probably all those balls, well, I don't know. I think all those balls would be too big a challenge, myself. So you need to experiment and you need to practice a little to find out how many balls could we actually keep going for a period. You've got a period now, let me see. We'll give you up till the break to practice and refine, and when we come back from the break we'll ask you to demonstrate your amazing achievement and we'll time it and we'll see what time you do compared with the other group. You'll have 3 chances to get under a minute. Perfect looks like the ball never touches the floor and the ball is never held for longer than it takes to recycle it. So you can't have somebody hanging on to it until... You have about 9 or 10 minutes to practice, play around, experiment, talk and refine to see how many you can do. So they all come in from the same person every time though. You don't have balls out there that are then thrown in. It all comes in from you, one at a time. Yeah. We're in exactly the same place. I've suggested that we have these 10 minutes practice and prep and then after break we do it. I'm going for a wee, I'm bursting. So.
When they got to the end, the last person who's collecting the balls again, he dropped the ball.
So, just a reminder on what you're going to be asked to do after the break. You're going to be asked to display 1 minute, 1 whole minute of successful juggling where no ball touches the ground. Okay? So your colleague who's receiving balls back, will be immediately recycling those balls so that you end up with this thing happening that lasts 1 minute without anything touching the floor. And we will challenge you to say, how many balls can you do? And you'll have 3 attempts to try to do that. Okay? So if you just want to have a think now, in the last, well, it's almost time to break, how many balls? Will you go for a big risk or will you go for safety? Have a think about that. And we'll meet you again after the break. Okay?
Thank you.
Myself and my colleague are very much enjoying working with the group this afternoon. It's an induction day for the programme, and as well as telling people about what we intend to do, we want to engage them in doing something. So you'll see some footage perhaps of us doing a practical exercise which gets people thinking about their needs from one another and what they can give to the group.
اللي تحب كذا يساوي اي يساويك انت. اليوم احنا يعني سعيدين بحضور برنامج مميز في مجال جدا دقيق ومميز في الموارد البشرية، وهو مجال القيادة وتطوير القادة. هذا المجال الذي بالفعل نحتاجه في هذه المرحلة في قطاعنا، وهي مرحلة البناء المؤسسي. مرحلة البناء المؤسسي لن تتحقق ويكون فيها نجاح حقيقي إلا بتميز قياداتنا وتطويرهم. شكرا.
خليه يسوي مقابلة. نادى الذكري. ها كذا تمام. يسار كذا يعني. اوكي دقيقة بالله. لا شك ان هذا برنامج نوعي يستهدف again لا شك ان هذا برنامج نوعي بشراكة استراتيجية مع براثاي لتمكين فئة جدا مهمة في القطاع الثالث من أدوات القيادة لخدمة المجتمع المدني.
السلام عليكم. أنا جدا سعيد بتواجدي في برنامج ايش اسم البرنامج؟ معليش اسم البرنامج معليش التنفيذي في القيادة. المفروض كنا احنا مجهزين.
تتوسط الصور.
اوكي اوكي كم دقيقة تبغى؟ كم ثواني؟ كم؟
10 ثواني.
اوكي.
تتكلمين اطلع يمين شوي. لا مو شرط تلاحظون مو لازم
سعيد جدا بتواجدي في الدبلوم التنفيذي في القيادة في مؤسسة الأميرة العنود الخيرية. خليني أعيد معلش. اوكي. ليه؟ طيب. سعيد جدا بتواجدي في برنامج الدبلوم التنفيذي في القيادة في مؤسسة الأميرة العنود الخيرية، وهذه الفرصة التي منحتها لنا المؤسسة هي فرصة تعتبر فردية أو يونيك. بتعبكم شوية يا أخي. قل لي ايش قال. والله الموضوع نبغى. طيب آسف.
لا بالعكس خذ راحتك، بس انا اقصد اني اسهل لك.
اوكي الله يسعدك. سعيد جدا بتواجدي في برنامج الدبلوم التنفيذي في القيادة في مؤسسة الأميرة العنود الخيرية. أنا أشكر المؤسسة على إتاحة الفرصة للقادة في القطاع الثالث، في القطاع الغير ربحي، وهي فرصة جميلة أنك تتعلم القيادة من خبرات مختلفة، تكسب الخبرات منهم من لهم خبرات طويلة ومن لهم بداية في القيادة. السلام عليكم. ماشي كيف؟ هو قص النهاية حق الأخبار.
وجهي فين، هنا ولا هنا؟ هنا طيب. ما اني اعلامي ولا حاجه. ليه 10 ثواني؟ ما حينزلوا 10 ثواني. اسعد اليوم بحضور دبلوم القياده التنفيذيه للمنظمات غير ربحيه، ووجودي ضمن كوكبه رائعه من قيادات القطاع الثالث في المملكه العربيه السعوديه. برنامج جدا جميل فيه تبادل خبرات جدا عاليه، اتمنى التوفيق للجميع. تشرفت اليوم بوجودي ضمن كوكبة من قيادات القطاع الثالث في برنامج القيادة التنفيذية اللي تقيمه مؤسسة الأميرة العنود. فيه له تبادل خبرات جدا رائع، وفيه له تطبيقات عملية جدا جميلة. أتمنى التوفيق للجميع. تمام؟
When I've been doing this exercise, and I'm not going to cite who it is, but one of your colleagues is able to juggle while answering his phone. Is that incredible? Okay. Last attempt over here. So this is about getting your pace down, being attentive to what somebody needs from you. That particular experiment, you have 3 experiments. If you are successful at keeping the balls rotating for a minute, I will sound the horn 3 times. And that will be, you've hit the minute. You've done what you set out to do. Okay? So, okay. Sorry, folks. That's your first attempt.
Very nice.
Looked great, but unfortunately you dropped a ball at about 15 seconds in. You've got 2 more attempts, don't worry, but let's see an attempt from this group. So have a look at this. Are they operating in the same way as you? Are they doing something different? They're trying for 5.
So just to go through لا تحاولون دكتور احمد لا تحاولون اثروا على النفسيه. راح نوريك. So the constraints ان شاء الله
يعني سامع.
Ian sounds this if a ball touches the floor. That's the end of your attempt, and the other group will get another attempt now. If you get to your minute, he will sound the horn 3 times, so you know you've got there.
Okay, we can get started.
خطيرين يا شباب.
حلوين عيال
Come on, guys, focus, focus. This is good.
خبرات بس لا يضرب
سلام يا سلام هيا كابو يا سلام سلام فازل
Okay, that attempt's over, guys. That attempt's over. That attempt's over. You have got 2 more attempts. Okay, guys, it's your big chance. Come on.
How many seconds?
Shake out a bit. It's not about doing it fast. It's about being continuous. I'll sound this. Okay, we'll wait for them. Do we know where they are?
كابتن حقنا ما نلعب الا بعيش. وين كابتن؟
منو اللي ناقص؟ ايه ترى اللعبة أجنبي حقنا أنت.
الكابتن والكوتش وكل شيء. ما نلعب الا
فريق انتظر.
Okay, same rules as before. I'll sound this if a ball touches the floor. You tell me when to start timing. You have elected to do 6. You told me 6. I think you told me 6, so that's what you're committing to. Doesn't matter they're only doing 5. So. So tell me when the last ball has gone in, please. Okay, quiet, please. Quiet, please. We're timing. Unfortunately, we lost one over here. Second attempt was good. You got to 22 seconds, I think. But it'll all depend on the last attempt. Okay, folks, over here.
هلا والله هلا والله هلا بالشباب
محمد محمد الجوال يا علي
Okay, this group have done 30 seconds.
حلوة ما شاء الله حلوة
It's a great attempt, guys. You got up there. About working together that you think will be helpful in the rest of the programme. So what went well and what do you take away which will be helpful? Could you translate that for us?
Sorry, I did not catch it.
Okay. I'm asking people in a trio or a pair, no bigger than that, so you will join one of these groups, to have a conversation about what went well about the way the group worked and what can you take away from that to put somewhere else.
هو الآن لعبنا هاللعبة، وش الشيء اللي نقدر وش الخطأ اللي صار اللي خلانا ما نكمل؟ وش الشيء اللي استفدنا منه خلال اللعبة؟ تركيز
Hey?
2 rounds. First question.
I've put both questions in. What do they take out of that exercise that would be useful working together in the future?
Pause after this
Basically, team spirit, coordination, focus, responsibility, because again, in order for everybody to succeed, so he need to be do all this, okay? So this is what they learn. Learn.
Great.
But what went wrong, this is something that I want to ask them. طيب وش اللي خلاها تطيح؟ وش تعتقدون؟ ارتباك.
Change the target. Change the target. عدم تنظيم.
Okay. What went fail because speed.
Yes.
The speed is one factor. I think sometimes people get distracted easily. اللي هو عندنا طبعا هذه because انه سهل التشتيت علينا. عضلة التركيز عندنا ضعيفة. That's why it's easy to concentrate. يعني
So when things aren't happening, we can decide how we'll be. But when it all starts happening, we get excited, we lose track, we lose focus.
There is something which is if the anticipation. I am anticipating a ball from him. During anticipation, in the brain, there is something called dopamine. It's a hormone for happiness. And that hormone also for anticipation. So that hormone is secreted for anticipation. So with anticipation always comes the happiness. So during this we were happy. يعني دائما so I'll explain to him. وقت التوقع يعني لما تجيك رسالة في شيء يقول لك افتحها زين. هالادكشن هذا يخلي عندك دائما كل ما طقت كل ما افرز هرمون الدوبامين يقول لك افتحها. اكسايتمنت هرمون الدوبامين صح اللي يعلمك اللي هو التوقع لكن نفس الوقت ياثر على المود حقتك السعاده. هذا السبب احنا دائما مدمنين كل شوي الواحد جوال. اوكي فاعتقد اللعبه هذه الادفانتج حقتها خلتني انتسيبيشن احس انه كل شوي تجي بيجي منك كوره وهذا يشوفني سو الانتسيبيشن التوقع هو بحاله تخليك في حاله ايفوريا اكسايتمنت.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, thank you. Can I ask the second part of that question about what will you take out then of the way that you worked in that exercise that you think is going to be useful when we work together on the programme? Just have that conversation in your trios or pairs and then we'll hear back all together. Okay? Just have a quick conversation, just 2 minutes in your pair or trio. What is it you take out of that for yourself that you think actually we'll take that forward into the way we work together?
وش الشيء اللي تعلمناه؟ الأدب احنا نلعب لعبة ثانية عشان نلعب لعبة ثانية أكيد احنا تعلمنا شيء هاللعبة هذه وش؟ تعاون collaboration focus تركيز
ازدادت الضغوط عليك كورة بعدين 2-3 تكيف
تكيف accommodation accommodating many numbers of balls
and being
وجود البيانات عددنا عدد الكور
calculating how many so there is mathematical process going on.
Okay. Something that I have taken out of this, because today is as much about myself and Ian learning as it is about you learning, something I've taken out of this is the good humour and warmth that you engage in when you work together. That's great. That's great.
طبعا اللي لاحظوا في الأمور هذه اللي قد لعب اللعبات في أماكن أخرى لكن لاحظ لما احنا لعبناه قديش كان فيها الضحك وخفة الدم والابتسامة. which is something good. When we failed, we laugh.
Yeah.
We
There's
don't
no
shout.
blaming,
يعني
no.
لما
Yeah.
ضحنا ضحكنا، لكن هو في بعض الجروبات ياخذونها serious.
Yeah.
So this is something that.
Yeah. That's great.
You know, maybe because we just been hit by taxation, so we don't care.
The external context always matters, doesn't it? Okay. We're going to move on when the other group have answered the same questions, so they're doing the same thing as us. But if you want to grab your table again now, and we'll begin again in 2 minutes. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So. Everybody, thanks very much for participating in that exercise, and thanks for your observations and reflections after it. It's in that discourse, it's in that conversation that happens after we do things when the actual work of the programme really happens. So thanks very much for engaging in that. One of the things that conversation starts to deal with is when we talk about taking something forward, we're also thinking about what sort of ground rules are we going to agree for the way that we work together. And we'll do more with this on Module 1 and when you get to the Lake District as well. What sort of ground rules should we establish so you get the best out of the opportunities? The way that people will contribute, the way that people will support and challenge each other to get the best. So that's always in the background for us. But into the foreground, just a few more ideas about the basic leadership model now, rather than learning model. We've talked about a learning model, that cycle. Now we want to talk about a leadership model that underpins what we'll do together. And we're going to use this. There are hundreds of models of leadership effectiveness. Is there anybody from a military background in the room? Yes. Have you studied action-centered leadership as part of your studies, perhaps, where there are 3 circles of task, team, and individual? You'll probably remember that. So another very strong and well-used model of leadership. There are lots. We're choosing this one because it works very well with the flow of the programme that we're designing with you. So here we're looking at effectiveness really being a match between the individual characteristics a person brings, the requirements of their actual job, you know, the individual characteristics and the match to job requirements might be spot on or they might be widely apart. Paying attention to what the organisational climate is. We'll define what that means more as we go forward. There isn't time now to do a thorough job on that. But it's not enough to just have these individual characteristics. It's about how somebody is prepared to put them together in different situations and, if you like, stretch their boundary on how they are prepared to lead in different situations. A combination of all of these can be said to sum up the performance of a leader. So our programme looks a bit like this. We'll help you get more insight into these individual characteristics by the use of the Quest instrument during the basic module, the sort of conversations that we invite you to have, and also in the Teams module as well. There'll be quite a lot around what are you individually bringing to this thing of leadership. I'm going to ask you between this introduction and the first module to put some thoughts together around your context. What is it that makes your context unique? Is it about the people that you work with, or is it about the challenges you face? Is it about what you bring, you know, your circumstances? But what is it that makes it unique for you? And we'll work with that. The Quest information comes back during the advanced module, leadership styles. We'll use that again. Climate we'll introduce in that last module so that you have a really good collection of leadership tools to bring both into your work but also into the Leadership in Action residential. So let me tell you more about the Quest profile. It's an important part of what we'll do together, but it's not the most important part. The most important part is how you engage with each other. It's not about an instrument or a piece of paper. However, it is important, it's very useful. So there are probably 3 state-of-the-art development tools of its kind, and this is one of those 3. It's a great way of gaining insight. It focuses not on what you're good at, it focuses on what you prefer. And that's different. They are linked, and we'll explain that, but they're not the same way. So if you're thinking that this is some kind of assessment of how good you are at things, it isn't. It isn't that. Instead, it's giving you an insight into what you prefer, how you prefer to operate, how you prefer against a number of areas. So it needs context. This tool is used to appoint people into job roles. But it can't be used for that unless the job role has a very specific set of competencies that are developed so that people can measure against that. We're not using it like that. It's not going to be an assessment. It's going to be a development tool. So there's no rights or wrongs, no better or worse. It's a way of getting an insight into how you prefer to operate in areas of people, thinking, feeling, and drive and motivation. And it's as useful to you as the input data is. It's as useful as that. So it depends on you putting data in that's of use to you, that's honest, that's straightforward. When you fill it in, you may have used these instruments before, but when you fill it in, generally speaking, good practice is to do it quite quickly. Don't spend a long time overthinking about each of the questions. I find the questions in these kind of questionnaires quite annoying, I've got to say, because they force a choice. They say, well, is it more like this or is it more like that? And I can often think, well, it's about the same, and it forces you to choose one side or the other. Go with it. It'll be as useful as the information you put in. Ian has recently done this instrument because you wanted to experience it again for a while. Have you got any insights into the duration it took you? And
so when you do it, the average time is about 30 to 50 minutes that people take. And then my advice would be is that when you go in, there isn't a wrong or a right answer. It's about your preference, how you feel. So don't think I should answer this or I should answer that. Go with how you feel about it. As Andy says, don't spend too long about thinking about the question. Go with your natural, as we'd say, gut reaction. And then you'll get a far more accurate picture. And don't be straight thinking, I should put this answer or I should put that. You'll get a false report. It's being honest with yourself and it's putting down what is pertinent and important to you rather than feeling what you should put down. Does that make sense? I think it's probably worth having a translation about this.
would you be able to translate that?
بالنسبة فيما يخص الكويستشنير يمكن الجزئية مهمة فيما يخص الكويستشنير الأسئلة تجاوبها بدون ما يعني أعطينا الانطباع الأول. طبعا I will talk about what they call it fast thinking and slow thinking.
Okay.
What you try to see in this question is they're fast thinking, which is most of the people who will work it out. في الآن عند الإنسان two systems للقرار. في fast thinking وفي slow thinking. الفاست ثينكينج هو اللي معظم الناس يتخذوا بسرعه مضبوط يبغون يشوفون وش الفاست ثينكينج حقك بالكويستشنير فلما يجيك السؤال اول واحد يكتب نقطه تنقل ليش قالوا لك لا تفكر؟ لانه لما فكرت معناه انك تشغل سيستم 2 سيستم 2 هذا هو السيستم اللي تبقى تحلل فيه وتضبط فيه طبعا كل ما كنت حكيم كل ما شغلت السيستم 2 كل ما كنت سطحي وسريع وراعي عجله حتشغل سيستم 1 مضبوط سيستم 1 هو الدومينيتنج هو اللي دائما 80% of your time قرارات تجي من هنا لكن القرارات الحكيمه هي اللي تجي من سيستم 2 سيستم 2 مشكلته كسول مشكلته يحتاج طاقه يحلل لكن القرار حقه 100% صح هم ما يبغون ينفذ ف in this questionnaire you will try to test the system one, which is fast thinking, which is the one who is covering a daily activity.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
And being honest as well. That's
Yeah,
important.
it's being straightforward.
Not trying to fit a criteria that you think you should do, but go with the one that you don't.
Is it like your intuition?
It is. It's really what you
يعني الحدث يعني السريع اللي على طول يجي هذا بالنسبه للكويستشنير حقهم فيما يخص
Probably the engineers in the room, and I'm one of them, will find this more annoying than non-engineers because engineers look for precision. Okay, so the ERAS thing. We've mentioned already, as well as these 24 behaviour preferences, it'll also report on team style, contribution preferences, working with others. And it has a model of 9 distinct preferred styles there, preferred roles rather. And leadership styles, a model of 6 patterns of behaviour. You only fill the questionnaire in once, and we use these different outputs from the questionnaire on the different modules. But you only have to put the data in once, which is why it's so important to get a good quality of input data by just bang it in, don't think about it too hard. Okay, well, we're almost at the next break, so I think we'll take a break there, and we'll ask you to, could you be back please for 7:10, and we're going to finish with another practical activity, very different from what you've done there, and the output of the practical activity will involve being filmed as well. Okay, so I'm just conscious for a moment of, is there anybody has made other plans and needs to be somewhere else in the next part of the day, or is everybody going to be here?
Just maybe we need to continue. We need to break now. I think that.
I think we just need a break.
Yeah, we have a break now. Yeah.
No, we need like continue.
Oh, we don't need a break.
Let's continue.
Continue.
Yeah, love to leave early.
Okay, right. So how long have we got to before you need a break now? An hour?
No break. You see, this is the first impact of the leadership.
Okay, I'm perfectly happy to continue. That's fine. That's great. Okay, let's do that. Right. So, we want to illustrate what we mean by experiential learning. We've talked about the idea of experience, review, learn, and apply. So we want to give you an opportunity, rather than just the experience and the review, to actually apply something and to find out about that way of working. In order to do this, we're going to invite you to get into trios, and I think there will be one pair as well. So could I invite you just in the room to preferably work with people you haven't been working on the same table as. So if you could just stand up and get into clusters of 3 with new colleagues that you haven't worked with so far. So trios preferably. I think there will be one pair. Could we just see those trios, please? Yeah, please. Yeah, if you can. A group of 3, yeah, it's fine. But try and mix up a bit from these groups that we've had on the tables. Mix it up. I'll tell you. Let's all get together. Okay. Now, I may have to ask our colleague to translate this again, so bear with me for a moment. Or Mutaz might help, actually. Mutaz would be good. So if we just invite you out here, Mutaz. Here's the conversation that we want you to have. First of all, in the trio, I want you to assign each person a number 1, 2, or 3. Decide that now. Who's 1, 2, 3? Okay, stick your hand up if you're a 1. Stick your hands up once. Is there a 1 there? Yeah, okay, that's good. And we need to work with that in a moment. Don't forget what number you've just thought about. Right. we now want you to have a conversation in your trio where, first of all, number one thinks about a strength, something that they bring to working in groups that they know is a strength. Tell the group what that strength is. Tell your trio what that strength is. And have a think, wait a minute, have a think about something that you know inside yourself you would benefit from doing a little more of or doing a little less of when you're working in a group on a task. It might be, for example, that you know that sometimes your enthusiasm takes over and you say too much. It might be that sometimes your shyness takes over and you don't say enough. I don't know. Here's what it looks like on paper, and here's what I'd like Mutaz to just pick up and describe from the front, if you could, Mutaz.
Does it include only for number one?
No. Number one will go, and then number two and number three. Make sure that you go all the way around the group.
Okay, so the first one is the strength. What else you want them to do?
What might you aim, you yourself, to do a little more of or a little less of because you think it will be helpful to you or to the group? Yes, please, if you can start. Take about 3 minutes each, so we're talking about 12 minutes total.
A friend of mine.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I missed the lecture.
Oh, don't worry. It's all been filmed, apparently. I'm very scary.
Okay. But since we're having dinner together, I think we can...
You will join us.
Great.
We can have it on plate.
Talking to you later. Yeah, okay. It's interesting. This is the challenging bit of what we're doing in this whole session.
Okay.
Because we've invited people to actually talk in these trios about a key strength that they individually bring to, and you can see that the body language changed almost entirely. Lots of people went to this kind of environment, because it's difficult, it's new. And what we'll do now is do another practical activity that involves them in collaborating to produce something and also to think something through and present it back, and then get these trios together again and say, okay, that key strength that you wanted to bring to the group, how far did you get? What helped you bring that in? What slowed you down bringing it in, and get those conversations? So we've pumped it up to a different level of communication, we hope.
Good.
We hope.
See the strength?
Yep.
And the weakness as well.
Well, it's not so much a weakness. If you think about it in a weakness way, it kind of sets you down a bit, negative. If instead you think, you know what, I'll take a personal example, all right. A strength I bring to groups generally is a drive to get things moving forwards. But I know that sometimes I need to allow other people to speak more, because I get quite passionate and excited and I can lose sight of listening to others. That's a personal example. So I don't think that's a kind of, I suppose it is a weakness in a way, but if I think about it as a weakness, it's not as helpful as me thinking, you know what, I'm just going to do a bit less of that. That gives me something I can do rather than something I am, or you get it.
Okay. But we're gonna do it 1, 2, 3.
Yes, that's it.
Even
Yeah.
2, we will say.
For all of them.
Yeah, just do both and work around. Yeah, just do it quickly. It's all right.
He was denying. He was not going to say.
What I understand from you, that should be number 1 said about his strength.
Yeah.
Then we can, for number 2, you have another task.
Oh, no,
All the
no, I'm
same.
sorry. They're all the same. It's just, you'll see why we've numbered you in a moment. We've numbered you to form some other groups or for the next exercise. Yeah, so just do 1, 2, 3, all the way around, and then we'll go. Broadly, this group have kind of not quite got off the ground yet to some extent, but they're all right. And a big surprise. Break? No break. But it says on this piece of paper, break. No. I'm not sure how much praying went on in the other breaks, to be honest, judging by the number of people on their phones.
So what are we going to do with this next?
I think we just launch straight into Terabel, actually. So how we do that is we get the 3 groups 1, 2, 3, we give them a group base, we grab the problem with grabbing a representative from each group. Yeah, okay, we do, and they're good English. Yeah, we do that.
I think we should get them sat at the table, sat round the table.
Agree. Yeah.
So we want we might manipulate chairs already, might we?
Yeah, my reluctance to do that is because people got some personal kit. So I think I'd prefer to do that verbally. Really.
I'll get the kit.
And we should have plenty of time for this.
Yeah.
So.
We've got a slide as well. I think to just say as well to be mindful of the conversation you just had.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is the application of that conversation, really.
Yes, it's been really useful to think about how we work.
Overall, I'm really encouraged. I'm encouraged because people have stayed with it, and we've had a little bit of drifting off, but not very much. The calibre of the people, I think, is pretty high grade. Great. Okay.
Okay, guys. So we move on to the next phase.
Okay. This next phase is a reorganisation of the room as much as anything. So I know that you have personal belongings and phones and books and so on the tables, but what I would like to do is to get all the people who have the number 1 working around this table here. all the people who have the number 2 working around that table there, and all the people with number 3 working on that table right at the back. So if you take all your personal kit and establish a group 1, a group 2 and a group 3, that would be great. Yes, all the number 1s on that table, all the number 2s there, all the 3s there. So. That's great. All number 2s? Good. Okay. The next piece of this involves finding out round your table and almost electing, in a way, almost finding a volunteer who will come and get a brief for the practical exercise. So that needs to be a person who is able to take the brief in English and then to feed it back to the rest of the table in your own language. So if we can have one representative from each of those working groups to come over here and we'll brief them. We'll put a slide up as well so that you can use that to help brief your colleagues. Great, thank you. We got somebody from here?
It's going to be like something secret in the beginning, then
yeah. We will tell you what the task involves, what the practical exercise involves, and we'll use a slide as well. Then you will go back to your groups and let them know what's required. So, hello, good. Okay, it's. I don't think you'll need to. We'll do it again if you need to. Let's just run through it first. So it has 2 parts to it, and what's important is that it's a way of making those conversations that you just had about strengths and what I might do more of, giving it an arena, giving it a place to play it out. So it has 2 parts. One part is an engineering problem, really. It's to design and build a tower to a specification. I'll tell you that in a moment. Only the materials that we supply, which looks like that, can be used. The minimum height of a tower is 50 centimetres. No, you will leave that there, yeah, so we can keep flipping between these. The tower must be freestanding for at least 20 seconds. So if it kind of falls over after 20 seconds, that's okay, And we'll award a prize for the tallest tower, and we'll award a prize for the most innovative design as well. So that's one part of what's happening. Okay. And it might well be that that part sucks in a lot of energy and creativity. The next part is probably more important, and it's to think about this, creating a really short, less than 5 minute presentation. It can be 2 minutes, it can be 1 minute, but it sets out the 5 most important characteristics that you believe a successful leader in your context, working in your organisation. So there won't only be one answer to this. You'll have to negotiate and say, okay, overall we think these 5 characteristics are the most important for a leader. And also 3 ways that a leader can derail themselves. By derail, I mean,
What do you mean by that?
yeah, it's, do things that prevent them getting the outcomes they want. Mistakes that would slow them down and stop them achieving as a leader. And again, they will be different in different contexts, but you're trying to arrive at some agreement about that.
I have a question. Characteristics. Is
Yep.
there like specific or just is there specific
The
characteristics?
more specific, the better. What we're trying to link it up to.
Because I wasn't here for a while. I'm afraid that you have showed them some.
Oh no, we haven't. No, no, we're talking quite broadly, but we're hoping to link that up eventually to the characteristics that come out of the questionnaire. You see, come out of the profiler. Make sure that all the group have an input to this, rather than dividing the group into, you guys are going to make the tower, I'm going to think about this, or whatever. Try and make sure that everybody has some agreement towards a final version of that. And you'll make the presentation, let's see, I'm thinking 7:45, Ian, what do you think?
I think so, yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah, at 7:45, so that'll be 7:45.
7:45.
7:45, you'll make,
presentation.
yeah, and the tower as well.
Yeah, towers
Yep,
and presentation.
tower and presentation, 7:45, everything comes together. Yeah, on the table's fine, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna in the presentation we're gonna talk about this point.
Yes.
The 5 most important.
That's it. That's
And if you
it.
feel you need to use a flip chart to do that, if you need to put your presentation on that.
Yep, surely. Yeah.
Like we're gonna say, like we found out there is 5 best
Yeah, we decided that these 5 characteristics were must. Yeah. I'm going to leave this here, so if you want to flip between the two parts of the brief, by all means, or take a photograph it on your mobile phone or whatever. So.
Just go back again on the
So right now we brief, then we come back?
Yeah, well, you can take your equipment if you like. Yeah, take that. One of those.
So deal is how can a leader, what can they do that will actually not help the group, not help themselves, not help the task? So what is it that's
Can I take them? One of them?
Yes, take one, please. Yeah.
Well, derail means a train is running on track, it comes off the track, it's a derail. So you're trying
Both the same.
You're trying to, so 3 things that stop a leader being his best and helping the group. And that could be, I'll give you an example, it might be maybe the leader talks too much.
That's your kit. Right, so 1945. It's hard to judge whether saying 7:45 looks like bad news for one of them or what, but.
حلوين يا بتوع الهندسه صح؟ ما توقف كذا
ما توقف بالطريقه هذه
جيب لها تعاون ندعمها هنا سلم كلب المخاليل من الجنب من تحت من البنيه التحتيه لا تحوسها
خلي على تجاره يلا
طيب اصبر هذا اللي صار عنده شيء يا هذه اللي قال لك توقف we have to make it
stand alone.
Yes, so when you finish the tower, it should stand by itself with no.
by itself.
من نفسها.
يعني شوف احنا بنسوي 2 في هذا نخليه يركبون على بعض.
طيب ليش ما نخليه بشكل هرمي؟ كانك تروح يكون هرمي. صح؟
صح؟
طيب ايش رايك
في هذا 50 سم ترتيب
ابو يزيد
هذا كم
فريقين احنا كم عددنا الحين؟
لا خلينا 50
يعني كل 4
هذا كم 50
ولا
50 كافي يا وحش يلا بتوع الهندسه
هذا 50
خلاص خليه هنا عشان
صرنا
لا تبغى نفسك عتبت كل ثبت
نبغى ثلاثة زيه عشان يصير هرم.
اي عشان نخليه هرمي ونحط مخالف في الراس.
طيب شلون
كذا ابد تبغى تحط الهرمية وتدخل يوقف طال عمرك
يوترك يجيب لك اضراب واجد عشان بس ما تسمع
كفو
ولا يقول على هذه
طريقة
خلاص لحظة شباب
اوكي ننتظر يا شباب ننتظر
باقي هذا واحد نضيف واحد
كلهم نفس التمرين
هذا ثلاثة جت
هذا واحد
حلوين. طيب الحين نحط مخلال من الراس من هنا ولا دبوس ولا مطاط وكذا حلوين وحبايب. بسم الله شوف زي كذا مثلا هذا بس خلاص حط مطاط او مخلال. يلا نتساعد
والله سمبل هذا ما قال لك تسوي.
Is it right?
Yeah, you're just going for as high as you can.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's 150.
It's got to be minimum center.
It's 50.
Minimum. We can make it.
لا بس رص هذا ما يخالف بس انه هذا البنى التحتيه ضعيف. تعال هنا
لا شوف بقول لك شيء
هذا
هذا وش يصير هذا؟
ما ادري قاعد تسوي تكييف
ما ايش قاعد تسوي تكييف
ثواني وحش هذا نثبت فيها من فوق
ما تستخدم
هذا تستخدم
الفولدر بس
لا
ايه بيستخدمه هو Is it not allowed to use this one? Excuse me? Is it not allowed to use this one?
No, only the materials you were given.
بس الماتيريال موجود.
يعني هو اعطاك الماتيريال ونسوي لك 50 سم والمينيموم بالمطاط
It's okay, it's fine.
انت تحب تخدع.
يلا نبي ثالثة بس.
نبي الثالثة؟ يلا نبي الثالثة.
خلينا نجرب.
لا يحتاج زر.
ما يحتاج طال عمرك. بس يلا بتوع الهندسة. مستغيث؟
خلاص صبر يطير.
لا كذا اوكي. كذا تحس انك على الملك فهد.
هم سووا نفسه هذا ما سووا
50 سم
هذا 50 هذا 50
عندك
واسود بعد
عندك
يا دان
You've got to do the second board as well.
Second one?
The second board of your.
Second board.
Do the second board with the briefing.
Can we just check the
about the presentation? What do you mean? This is the official version.
Just a quick announcement on overall timings. So we've worked around, we were expecting a break and so on. I don't want to need to think it's too much time.
We're not going to measure yet.
So we're going to take a break. 15 minutes. it's important that we get a high quality of presentation. Okay, so don't neglect presentation in favour of the tower. We'll take a check in 15 minutes to see how you're getting on.
تعاون team work.
So what Andy was just saying is the presentation of those points is key. So you have two things to do. So the presentation will give you. You don't have to present the tower or the presentation if you wanted to. But if you're ready in 15 minutes, then we'll take it there.
Just want to make sure I'm on the same page. What I understood, he told me that
in general, just in the tower. General leadership. So why was it
صحح انه 5 اشياء هي تخلي القائد دائما ناجح من راينا في العمل. 3 اشياء هي دائما
تفضل
انا واحد اتكلم ولا شيء مشاركه
في ما هو في يقول 5 اشياء من رايكم في القائد 5 شخصيات وهي اسباب النجاح اسباب نجاح الجروب. و3 اشياء تكون هي شخصيات غير مناسبه للعمل كذا جروب اوف تيم. مو
مصاص من بعضهم
تفضل استخدم هذه
لازم تطبق هذه تقويتها تحط لك ماشي شوف الشباب وش سووا هناك غشوا لا
انت يبينا تثبت هنا بعد يبينا مقاطع
لا خلي المقاطع الاولى
الزاويه هذه الزاويه هذه هذا مشان هذا او حطه حطه كذا دقيقه طيب نسوي توازن كذا نسوي توازن زياده لا نخليه لا ثبتها في القاعده ثبتت هذه هذا اللي طيب لا حط تسوي ثبته انا قصدي ثبته ينطلق لا دقيقه
رايك احسن من واحد اذا راكب
ما عليك
اذا سمعت لا
ايش رايكم كذا
يميل اللي اذا كان ضبطنا الاثر
Remember when we measure, you drop your. So it's hands off when we measure. I've seen this building down in downtown Rio.
هذا انبوب ترى اطلب منه رياض كم؟
لا ترى انه مو بطول واحد مو بطول ولكن نحن الافضل
5 minutes, folks. 5 minutes.
حتى هو في زيادة الأكبر إبداع كان منطقية لا
لا بس احنا مقارنة بيك هذا المخرج
شباب ترى هذا بين على الهزات الأرضية ترى لا عادي جرب
We've got 5 minutes left. 5 minutes. 5 minutes left.
Thank you very much. That's not what we meant. It's still not in.
I am when let's go.
The tower that's the highest, and the tower that we feel demonstrates the most innovation. But what we're doing now is hear the presentation. So, no particular order, but we'll suggest that Group 1 goes first, Group 2 goes second, and Group 3 goes third. The presentations will be filmed by our colleague over there. So our presentation, remember, is around 5 most important characteristics. 3 ways the leader can derail himself. Can I invite Group number 1 to take us there, please?
So guys, we've got to listen to Group 1 on their presentation.
Who is the highest, please? Who is the highest?
We're going to announce that until the end of these presentations.
Ready, presentation ready.
Okay, well, this group is going to go with their presentation. And don't worry if your tower falls over now, we have measured it, so it will count. I got a moment.
احنا جالسين دائما جالسين.
Okay, we're going to we asked Group 1 to go first. And just a clarification of it, it was the 5 most important characteristics of a successful team in work context, in the work that you do. And the 3 ways that a leader can derail themselves in these contexts is really saying this is what we feel are the 5 most successful characteristics. This is what a leader can do to prevent those happening.
دكتور يوسف هذا فوج العنود القادة.
Okay.
How long do we need?
As long as you feel, maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In Arab, in English?
Whichever you feel is most useful, really.
Arabic.
Okay.
In English? طيب.
Do it in Arabic.
Okay.
Then just quickly tell me what the 5 characteristics are.
القيادة هي ليس ما أحققه أنا إنما كما أحققه للآخرين. القائد يحتاج إلى صفات معينة. الثقة موجودة، الثقة يجب أن تكون موجودة لأن من الفريق يعتمد على التواصل. 90% من المشاكل التي تحصل هي نتيجة عدم القدرة على التواصل. القائد عندما يكون عنده قدرة على التواصل سوف يحل هذه المشاكل. motivation skill اللي هو القدرة على التحفيز، وهذه ناحية مهمة جدا يجب أن القائد يملكها حتى في أقصى الظروف، لأنه كما قيل القائد يجب أن يحمل تلك الابتسامة حتى لو كانت الظروف في أسوأ شيء. وكثير ما سمعنا أن الكثير من الموظفين يحاول أن يعني ينظر إلى المود حق القائد إن كان يعني ثابت، فهذا أمر طيب. الشيء الثاني أن يكون صاحب رؤية. كثير من القادة هم يعمل بشكل يومي لا يمكن أن يحصل على تلك الرؤية. الكيرينج اللي هي عبارة عن أنه نحن أسرة واحدة، نعم أهتم فيك، أحاول أن أعرف جميع ظروف من يعمل معي، لأنه إذا عرفت أن هذا صاحبه والده مريض فسوف أتعامل معه بطريقة بحيث أني أحصل على عمله وأداؤه متفهم ظروفه. الصفات كثيرة. الثلاث أشياء يجب أن يتجنبها القائد هي السوبر إيجو، نفخة شوفة النفس، وهذه طبعا مع الأسف تكثر عند القادة، يعني إذا لم ينتبهوا إلى أنفسهم، لأنه دائما كلما بقي الإنسان في موضع قيادة لفترة طويلة يشعر أنه هو صاحب الرأي الصحيح. السنتراليزيشن، المركزية، وهذا قاتل، لأن القائد المركزي هو ذاك الشخص الذي لا يمكن أن يطور قادة بعده، فهو عندما يترك المكان يكون وما بعد الطوفان، فتنتهي الأشياء. الشفافية، وهذه واحدة من الأشياء عندما تكون موجودة في أي منظمة وبالذات عند القائد، أعتقد أنه تكون انعدام الشفافية ومقتل للقادة والمنظمة. In a brief, we're talking about. Is okay you explain to him? Very good. Okay, thank you very much. طبعا ممكن excuse me القيادة بعض المرات ليست بالكلام إنما بالفعل. أنا أعتقد إنه حنا يعني هذا أكبر دليل على أن حنا يعني كشخة.
By doing, huh?
إيه by doing. الله يعافيك.
بس أخذ منك.
تفضلين يعني.
We'll move on to group 2 now, if you can go.
عشان الكاميرا.
تبي محفظتي لا تاخذها. ايوه السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام.
We just take it the tower example and we take the 5 most important points from our projects. As Doctor, he make it it's a very exciting speech. It's good for the leadership. What is the most important 5 points? First, select the leader coordinator for all the teams. Second, verify the tools what we have it and we use it all. Third, build the foundation and with the contribution of all the teams. The most important, the enthusiasm. All the team is enthusiast. This is the 3 points. We start the execution without the planning. We start. This is also second. We don't write a design or a scope of work, just because maybe time effect and we don't assign an accurate or a job description for each of the teams. Everybody do it. It's like a team work, but it's not very well organized by job description, who do what. That's it.
Great.
Thank you.
And finally, we'll go to wait to transfer the microphone.
Okay, after sharing our ideas with those gentlemen about the most or the 5 most characteristic for successful leader are, it should be initiative, person can showing willingness to get things done, which is very important. And the second one, extroverted person who share their idea and talking out the idea and sharing things with a team. And then the communication, who can build harmony inside the team. Also, who has emotional intelligence, who can intervene the problem exactly and fix the conflict inside the team at the right moment, not every time. And also democracy person who can ask the question, what do you think about this idea? What do you think about this idea? So he can like share things and be more democracy person. The worst or the worst ways, I would say, the drill things inside the team, who authoritative, who use their authority to control the team without sharing the idea with them, and also who toxic, who ignorance the team and feeling about the employees inside the team, and also introverted person who make a decision their own way, not using our team or the team decision, and build harmony inside the team. And I think that's it. Okay, thank you.
So that was really useful for us to watch the way that you went about it. You told us a lot about how we should think about working with you. So it was great to watch your preferences. Was really important. And we could see that happening. It was interesting that how different teams went about the task in a different way. We had this group over here decided actually we would forget about the tower and we would look at the other constraint, which was to talk about what makes a successful leader and what gets in the way. So they had a very different strategy to the group that was over there or the group that was over there. And that was very interesting as well. And what we've got 3 towers. And again, just looking at the tower, there's different criteria. We've got a prize for innovation, but we've also got a prize for height. So where is the priority? Where do you put your emphasis on your efforts? Is it about finding out what makes a successful leader and prevents them from preventing the team being at its best? Or is it about building the tower? And that was really interesting, the way that you went about. We saw a lot there from it. So a great exercise. So we've looked at the towers, and I've got some results. So for and you're interested, I think, on the highest tower. So
Here in what you say, just the highest, not the innovation.
Yeah, we've got two.
It's not written.
Oh yes.
Where?
Was written.
Backwards.
Oh, sorry, Andy. Where you going?
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think it sums up the challenges of leadership. It really does. So, successful leaders, they can multitask. They can actually say, we've got more than one thing to do. Yes, we've got to build a tower, but we've got to think about how we build it. Plus, we've got this other task that was given to you. So that's something to think about. And good leaders, I would say, will manage that in a very effective way and think about it. But we got some results. So the height of tower number 1 at time of measurement was an incredible 1 meter and 9 centimeters. I think a round of applause. Tower 2, which is still standing, was an incredible height of 1 meter 29 centimeters.
And finally, the time of measurement at the back was 1 metre 19. So for the tallest tower, this is a delicacy from the Lake District. This is made where Braithy is. It's a special confectionery. So, and for the innovation, I think Andy's been looking at the innovation.
Yes, I've been looking carefully at innovation, which has included the way that materials have been used, the
sit down and
responsiveness to change and challenge in the design, and I have no doubt that the group that has demonstrated the most innovation is group number 1. Which is a great shame. Because this is great work. But it's not about competing with one. How can someone doubt the innovation of not using straight lines, keeping bends in things, holding things together with bits of what appears to be flour?
And for me, it was it had a lightning conductor.
Okay, folks. We want to draw our day to a close now.
Yes, thank you.
What do you think? Okay.
Thank you.
When we got you together into the 1, 2, 3 trio, we asked you to think about a strength that you would bring to whatever it was that you did. And we asked you to think about something that you would aim to do more or do less, because it would be useful to you or it would be useful to the group. Now, through the course of the programme to mean that you're more and more intentional about, yes, this is my intention, and I'll work with a couple of colleagues to see how far I get. So that was how that part linked up with what we asked you to do. Great results, guys, tremendous. Right, last slide of the whole thing. Here we are. And I understand you'll do a day tomorrow, which, amongst other things, will involve you in completing the ERAS questionnaire. We know that. I would also like you to do some individual things between now and next time. And I will make sure that this slide is sent to you so that you don't have to make any notes now. First of all, we want you to have some kind of log or record of your notes and your thoughts. And we know that if we use conference paperwork, like those pads and so on, they disappear. They disappear really easily and you don't keep them together. A lot of people now use phones or tablets or whatever. You need to think what works for you to decide how you want to capture your learning. It could be a dedicated notebook, a physical paper notebook, or it could be your electronic file on a tablet or whatever. But you need somewhere that you can bring things from one module to the next. So decide on what that is. When you've decided how you're going to do that, I want you to do a bit of research on the internet, probably. Find a definition of leadership which someone else in whatever place in the world, whatever time in history has created, but it somehow particularly rings for you. It particularly has some relevance for you, whatever it has to say. You think, yeah, actually that's kind of, it's either close to what I think or it's close to my circumstances. So find one leadership definition which you think, yeah, that really resonates for me. And secondly, write a few brief notes. It doesn't need to be very many, just a couple of lines on each of these areas. What are the sorts of people that you lead? If currently you're not leading anybody in terms of being a line manager to individuals, have a think about the people that you impact upon and impact upon you the most. And what sort of people are they? By sort, I mean, for example, you may perhaps manage a department in the foundation where most people are very new. Most people are young and enthusiastic, maybe. Maybe you work in another environment where you have a mixture of people who are very enthusiastic and people who perhaps are not enthusiastic at all. They don't really contribute in the same way. Different context. You might lead people who are very experienced. You might lead people who aren't very experienced. Something about the sorts of people you lead. Make some notes on what sort of resources do you have at your disposal. What kind of resources and things do you manage and lead? So that's, first one's about people, second one's about things, really. Yes, you have these people, what other resources do you have? This third one's very important. What's particularly challenging to you at work at the moment? So what do you kind of, what do you go to sleep thinking about as regards work? Are there any particular challenges? The thing that gets you out of bed in the morning and gets you to work. What is it you find satisfying about what you do? What fires you up? Why do other people see you as high potential, high talent people? What gets you up in the morning? What do you find satisfying? And what do you do to refresh yourself? We all throw ourselves into our jobs in one way or another. We all get tired to the point of, needing to refresh ourselves. What is it you do to refresh yourself? Lots of different things that people do. Recharge your batteries. Okay, where do you plug yourself in to recharge? How do you do that? Okay, bring these notes to the next session. We won't ask you to share them with the whole room, but we will ask you to share some parts of them with a number of colleagues that you'll be working with in a smaller group. That's the end of the... Yeah, okay. Tell you what, rather than do that now, what I'm going to suggest is when we bang the slides out, that you particularly put a slide in the back end. Yeah. So we won't translate that right now, but we'll make sure that this has a copy in Arabic for you to use. Guys, thank you very much for the commitment to this afternoon, this session. A question? Yes, we'll get them to you. We'll get them to you. We'll send them on your email. So, thank you very much. These sessions don't go well because we do something. They go well because you do something, and it's been great from that point of view. Your commitment and engagement was great. We are really looking forward to coming back over here, and I think we will say thank you and good night. For tomorrow, I don't have a full picture of tomorrow. Mutaz has, and in your schedule there, I think there is a description of what will happen tomorrow. We won't be working with you tomorrow. This will be the last time you see us until February. That's where you're going in April.
There is nightclub near or not?
That's what, sorry?
Nightclub nearby?
No, not really.
Huh? Is there? No?